welcome to the KeenGamer Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Callahan, and we have a great episode for you guys today. Please welcome back Jessica Orr. Jessica, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Mark. I'm excited to dig up some conversation about the quarry today.
I'm so excited, and I was very disappointed it did not actually have a quarry. I mean, technically it did, but I'm like, oh, it's like
Mm,
where like the Power Rangers fight, and it's like, nope, it's a summer camp. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever.
mm, mm.
But speaking of the Quarry, we have an exciting episode as we will talk all things spoilers regarding the Quarry. We will be bringing in a special guest, one of our writers for the site, Emanuel Ortiz. But first, we'll talk about all things news, including FromSoftware has a new game in development, some FF16 news, and more. But even before we start, Jessica, we got some exciting news. As we've been saying at the bottom of the hour, we're on Spotify. Please rate us 5 stars and please continue to do that. But guess what? Now you can finally check us out on Apple Podcasts.
Woo! We did it!
We're
Finally!
global,
Yeah!
mass
iPhone,
media. Pew, pew,
iPhone
pew.
users rejoice! For
Yeah,
once.
Android users hate us. Just kidding. You probably already do, or me. But yes, we are all the episodes, or at least a vast majority,
Yeah,
we
no,
are
yeah.
on Apple. Yes, King Gamer Podcast is on Apple Podcast. It was a huge get for them. We went through negotiations, but we were very happy at the outcome.
Yeah, we got a good deal. We got a good deal.
So I'm excited for new people. I think we have a couple more listeners than we usually do as Apple.
We do. Thank you, Apple. Never thought I'd say that.
We have it on record, Apple. We did it. Was it worth it? It was. But what? But let's go back to our regular scheduled podcast and let's talk about the games we're playing right now. So, Jessica, you're going back in the Fall Guys for free?
All I can say is woohoo! That is
Free
the sound that
Guys. Right.
yeah.
That sounds
Free guys, yeah.
free guys.
When's that deal gonna go in? They've pretty much had a collaboration with everyone else at this point. Yeah, Fall Guys is free. I played it on, I don't know about you, but I played it on PS Plus when it came to it a couple of years ago now, wasn't it?
It was definitely same here. It was 2020, and I haven't really heard like they're like, oh, just it's an awesome game. I'm like, all right, it's free, and
Hmm.
then all of a sudden, boom, global sensation.
Yeah, it's crazy. I loved it so much back then. I got really into it. I was still playing it even when people kind of went off it a little bit. They added their second season and they kind of had a drop in numbers, I guess. But people were consistently playing it. The only reason I stopped playing it is because I moved from a PS4 as my main console to an Xbox Series X, which didn't have Fall Guys. So
Oh,
yeah,
awkward.
awkward. That was honestly a big blow for me. I used to play Fall Guys all the time. I loved it so much. I was okay at the beginning, and then clearly, all the people who didn't really want to play anymore went away, so you were only left with people who were good at the game, and then I couldn't win anymore. So, that wasn't
I've
fun.
never won a game.
Oh, really?
Apple users, you will know me as a loser. It's my introduction for you guys.
Well, I'd still say you're probably have a better, win rate than me, probably, Mark, because the amount of that I lost, at the end of my PS4 run was pretty bad. Although I came back to it, now it's free to play. It's out on Switch, it's out on Xbox, Epic Game Store. It's on Steam. It was on Steam before, and the PS5 version came out. So I've played it on the Xbox now, and I played it on my Switch. It runs terribly on the Switch, which I don't think is a surprise to anyone.
It's did I knew it would come? Yes. Did I knew it would probably be disappointing? Yeah.
Also, yeah, it's just the same with Fortnite. When I played Fortnite on my Switch, everyone just instead of like walking or running, they're floating. There's about 2 frames per second, which is a big problem in Fall Guys. You kind of want to know what you're doing when you're pressing the inputs,
Yeah.
and navigating the course. But so Xbox was the best place to play it on, and I couldn't get in the first day. It was so popular, like, that was way popular than they were imagining it was. I saw a tweet that they had over 20 million people playing it since
Wow.
this, free-to-play version launched, and I'm really happy because I do love Fall Guys. I'm so glad. I've played it every day since it came out now. I've been doing all my dailies because they've got, it's kinda like the Fortnite system they've put into it now, putting it free to play. You have daily tasks, weekly tasks, and your marathon ones for, like, a season. And
Mhm.
it's not, like, annoying to do. The only annoying thing sometimes is you need to complete this in a squads match and not a solos match, like, say you just wanted to do solos, but there's nothing really annoying about it. It's like get a silver or finish a round with your squad 3 times, and then you level that up to get, like, it's a crown battle pass now, so you don't spend your crowns on costumes, you unlock them. It's like its own separate little battle pass, but there's still free
Okay.
stuff. Yeah, there's still free stuff to get in the normal battle pass as well. Lots of cool things. I have this weird thing with my Epic account where they just won't let me connect to my PlayStation account, so none of my stuff carried over, which kind of sucked.
Oh,
I had a
big time.
cute little egg costume. It's just gone. All the stuff I got at the beginning,
Was it
gone.
like a hard-boiled egg or like a fried egg kind of thing?
Yeah, it was hard boiled. My little bean was the egg yolk. I colored it yellow, and then you had
Oh.
you had the top shell and the bottom shell. Um,
And Epic Games was like, nah, nah.
Basically, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with it. I can't do it with Fortnite either. I had to link it to a separate account on my PlayStation. So strange. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. On the first day I was able to play it, which was Wednesday, I believe it launched Tuesday. I won 2 crowns and was incredibly over the moon. I'm like, I will never do better than this, and I haven't. But it's been fun.
You
It's
hit
fun
your
to
peak.
I did. I hit my peak the first day I played it when it had, all the new players who didn't know the courses yet, and I was like, "Ah, I recognize this one." Although they've added, like, extreme versions of them as well, like, they were doing that when I was playing, but you're like, "Oh, I can do, slime climb. That's okay, I guess. I know my way around it." And they're like, "Nope. Here's about 4 different obstacles that we put in each area to make it even harder." And you're like, "Oh, crap." It's still ridiculously fun. I played it with my nieces. They stayed over last night. They loved it. We were able to play together, on the Switch. Poorly, but we were able to play together. It was all good. It's just that perfect balance of, like, dumb fun, basically. It's the same reason I like Forza Horizon 5. It's not groundbreaking stuff. It's just really, really fun to play. And I plan on at least maxing out the battle pass for it because I've been playing it every day and it's just really fun and frustrating, though. I don't know how you feel about it, but it's equal parts cute and fun and incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, you're like, God damn it, why did you touch me? I was about to go over the finish line. And I bumped
And
into
just being
you.
like, so close and yet so far away.
Yeah, that's Fall Guys right there. And it's got that, one more match feeling to it.
Oh, big time. It's like, I can do better. Meanwhile, the universe is like, get off.
Yeah. Oh, I think PlayStation 5 was having some issues, at least at launch. One of my brothers played and said he got to the final round in the PS5 and it just kicked him out of the game. And I was like, "Ooh, that's really like, what if you won that one?" And he said it kept happening to him that day. Like, he kept getting kicked out of games on PlayStation 5. But that was
Oh, nice excuse. Yeah.
actually, yeah, now you mention it, Mark. It's like, you have no crowns.
Yeah, we don't have PlayStation 5 outage on Fall Guys on the news today, so
Oh, you're right. I
nice
gotta make a
excuse.
call real quick here. Uh,
Phew.
that's it
I
for Fall
was
Guys to me. It's such a fun game, and like I said, like my 4-year-old niece was playing. I'm sorry if she was in your team, anyone. She felt quite a lot, but she was trying and she was having a fun time.
she didn't try hard enough. Let's be fair.
Oh, sorry. I'll relay to her that next time she's up. Mark said you didn't try hard enough. Could you
And
please
she'll be
jump a
like,
little
"What?"
better?
And you have to say like, "You heard him. You didn't try at all." You know, I always think about like, ever since they announced like it'll be free to play.
Hmm.
Imagine if they announced that right when the Squid Game phenomenon was going
Oh,
on,
yeah.
because I feel like a lot of people who had like almost said free guys, Fall Guys, like, because it was like, is this Squid Games? Is this Fall Guys?
Yeah, I love the comparisons to it. It was spot on. Yeah.
And I'm like, they ain't wrong. But could you imagine, like, they definitely had like a big success opening like this week.
hmm
But I feel like, man, if you would have had that I think it was like September, October 2021.
I feel like they should do because they have done a bunch of collaborations, mostly with PlayStation stuff, but now that they're everywhere else, that they could have like Ninja did a collaboration with them, the streamer. You could
Yeah.
definitely have like little Squid Game costumes. That would be cool. I'm very good for them.
Do they have any Mario costumes?
I don't think so. They've got Sonic.
Not yet.
Exactly.
But anything else about Fall Guys?
I don't think so. If nobody's tried it, it's free now. And like I said, it's out on Epic Game Store now and PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and it is crossplay between all of them except for Steam, I believe. But again, the crossplay was being weird with me on PlayStation for some reason. Would not let our Switch connect, even though we had everything connected. But I'm sure this will go away as the 20 million people gets slightly less.
Until season 2 of Squid Game, it'll be 30.
Yeah.
But moving on to me. So last week I explained how I first started playing Returnal, and I'm still addicted. I really thought, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll venture out, finally play Death Stranding, and I was like, nah, nope. And Jessica, I got a big update about Returnal.
Ooh.
I still suck. It's very like I'm so close, but yet far away. So, no, I don't think it's really spoilers because it's kind of vague. So I encountered the first boss,
hmm
and I'm like 60% of my health. So I just see like I'm just giving everything I got. I'm not being smart, and I'm like just firing away. I see that health bar. I'm like 5%, and I killed the boss. And then it just went whoop.
It
I
did the
like
Dark Souls thing.
it's the Dark Souls thing. I was like, son of a bitch. And I'm like, oh, that's the dashes. He has 2 health bars, and then yeah, killed me.
Yeah, that's pretty much my
Oh, that
element.
worked.
If it makes you feel any better, Mark, the first boss in Returnal was the hardest for me out of all of the bosses.
It doesn't
It
make
took
feel
me
better.
it took me the most tries out of all of them. He is tough.
And the thing is, like, it's like, it's one of those things. Like, it's tough, but it's like, yeah, I can do it
hmm
until it kills me, and it's like I can't do it. And other than that, actually, you definitely your era now has PlayStation Plus, the new revamped.
Yes, we did. We got PlayStation Plus revamped, so you can play Returnal now in extra tier, isn't it?
Extra because that is PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes,
do you have the service?
I do. Yep.
Have you dabbled into anything?
I had a look at them, and it is pretty widely known now that it's horribly organized. Is it the same? I take it in the US that you can't find a lot of things on it. You have to actually search for it, find a list online of what they have, and search for everything.
Oh yeah, it's yet again, I'm not that organized, so it's like PlayStation it gets me.
Oh. You're like, oh, you're talking to me as a fellow unorganized person. Okay.
It's like, no, I understand our language.
One thing that excited me personally, I remember I was going on about Mr. Driller, but I saw Resident Evil the director's cut on the PS1
Yes.
classics, which I'm excited to play. That'd be really cool. I've played the remake like so many times at this point. It would be really cool to go back to the very first Resident Evil game I ever played that got me into it. And to hear that, I don't know if you know about the infamous trumpet music in the basement in the
You
director's
told me
cut.
about that. I don't know if it made it to last week's episode or it was our
Mm.
pre-talk. Because I'm like, man, I want to like get into Resident Evil.
Mm. Oh
And
yes, and
you're
then I was like,
like,
the trumpet.
and I was like, what? Trumpet? I don't get it. And then you're like, but
Nobody
you hear
gets
the
it.
trumpet in the basement, and I'm like, Okay. So like Louis Armstrong trumpet, some bad
Uh,
trumpet.
it's like somebody who's never seen a musical instrument in their life has picked up a trumpet and started playing it. That's the
Maybe
scary
they're
part.
gifted.
They're not gifted. Not in this soundtrack. One other thing as
Ooh.
well. I don't know if you played this when you were younger. It's like this isn't just nostalgia speaking. This is a really good game. It's a really good platformer. Toy Story 2 on the
I couldn't
PS1.
find that.
See, yeah, probably have to manually search for it. Or maybe it's not available in your region.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Because
well,
I
that
saw a
is.
tweet and I'm like, is this a fake tweet? As in, like, is someone like, oh yeah, I'm playing Toy Story, and I'm like trying to find the list, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's amazing. I'm like, is this a meme I don't know? Am I not in on joke?
Everyone's lying to you. Yeah, like,
Is
oh
this
yeah,
like,
this
is this like the Morbius? I don't get
is this.
you.
Yeah, this was the Morbius of PS1 games. No, it's definitely not. Let me just clarify that. It's an awesome
And I'm
game.
like, I want to play that, but I can't. I guess that's a European privilege.
Sorry, guys. We get Toy
You
Story
guys had to
2, the
wait a week.
PS1 video game.
You guys had to wait a week, but they're like, we got you. Toy Story 2.
Also, news with this, there were like 50 hertz versions, but they have said they're going to change some to the 60 hertz because over here it was like standard to have 50 hertz. So we were getting crappy 50 hertz versions. But they are going to change that if any of them are still like that, which is welcome news because you want to have it performing the best it can.
Awesome. You guys and your hurts. I have no clue what that means, but I support you.
It basically translates to frame rate, how smooth it runs. So you want your PS1 Toy Story 2 running as smooth as possible.
Yes, for your old PlayStation 1 game. Yeah, basically that's all I have of Returnal. It's just been like the band Chumbawamba?
Yes.
I get knocked down, but I'm like, all right, I'll get back up again. And it's like I get knocked down, but I get up again. It's like I'm trying to progress beyond the lyrics, but it's like, no, I get knocked down, I get back again. You're never gonna keep me down. I never hear that part. It's like I get knocked down, I get up again.
But
So it is
you are enjoying it because I think that was like it is frustrating, but again, very different to Fall Guys, but it has that okay, one more run feeling to it.
100%.
Mm.
I think definitely if you have a PlayStation 5 and you haven't played it, I think the PlayStation Plus Extra tier, which is the middle one, it has all the PlayStation 4 and 5 games, well worth it. Premium, I feel like they need to stack up, and if they only had Toy Story 2, I would have gave it like definitely recommend.
I agree. I believe the extra tier is like the best one there, especially if you missed out on having a PS4 or just got a PS5. So many good games.
Exactly. But that is it for all the games we're playing right now. So let's move on to the news. Boop, boop. So we have 4 items on the agenda today. First one, we have now it's interesting. We talked about this before the show. You have not played any A Plague's Tale.
Mm-mm. It's been on my list for a very long time, but still haven't got around to it.
As I say that poorly, I'm like, nope, there's only one game. But guess what? It's been announced, I feel like, since last year, 2 years ago. It feels like forever. But we are finally getting the sequel of Plague's Tale Requiem. So last week, they aired like their little like state of play, just like a little gameplay showcase. And they
Mhm.
have a reveal date of October 18th. We can finally play the sequel. So you watched the stream, Jess. What was your takeaways?
My biggest takeaway is that it looks. I don't know if this is what it was like in the first game, but it looks like The Last of Us to me. The mechanics, even
Mm-hmm.
the like escorting your is it your brother?
Yes.
Even escorting him, I was like, this feels familiar, which is totally fine by me. I love The Last of Us mechanics. I've always said this. I try for stealth in games like The Last of Us, and in it, whenever I get caught, it's like right, fine, I've caught, and my go-to was throw a smoke bomb and just beat people up. I saw smoke bombs in this or something like it, so I'm like, yeah, I'm in. You've got me sold. I thought the gameplay looked really solid, and then I have no idea what's going on. Like I said, I don't even know the concept of this, if it's set in like actual history or alternate history. The bit at the end was kind of freaky with the rats and everything.
It's alternate history. Like, it
Okay.
definitely, of course, takes place in the past, but this is like supernatural forces. Think of it like, I'm pretty sure you mentioned The Last of Us,
Mm-hmm.
and think Bethesda Dishonored.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one, your first person, set in that same
Yes.
time period with the plague, and you have supernatural? Basically,
That's
that,
interesting.
having a lot of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And a couple of things. With the Xbox showcase, they're like, all right, A Plague's Tale is coming within a year. I'm like, all right, when? And they're like, within a year. It's like, details? So I don't know why we had to wait like a week and a half just to get
Yeah,
this.
it was weird. Yeah. Because now it's kind of went under the radar when the release date is, because I wouldn't have known it unless you would have flagged that this gameplay got released.
Because I feel like at least after the whole Summer Game Fest, the big thing, like showcase, was the Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff. And I feel like we definitely talked about it on the last episode, which you can check it out on Apple Podcast. How about them Apple Podcast?
Gonna get us banned from Apple Podcasts. We don't want you, actually.
You have to address our notes apology, like, we're so sorry for the puns, Apple. Ghost of Steve Jobs, I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
That's a crazy ex-girlfriend's reference. Watch the show.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you.
Mm.
Also, great song, but we'll talk about that post-show.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Woo! Remind me. So, we but I feel like Final Fantasy VII, like, it got so much hype. It was trending. And then it's like, even more like a couple days later, it's like, the big news about A Plague's Tale is like, here's the date, which we could have had during the showcase.
Yeah. I wonder if it was some weird, like, Xbox can't reveal the date, but PlayStation can, because they've had, like, partner with both now. This was PlayStation showing this footage off, wasn't it?
No, I just called it a state of play because I didn't know what to call it.
Ah, okay.
Well, honestly, they had like a state of decay. That's what they called it on Twitter, and I'm like, I'll buy you full price.
I'm in.
I'm like, social media team, you got me.
Yeah.
But it's funny. You ever like, you're watching a video on YouTube, but then like, this ad, but you're like, oh my God, this ad is amazing. So it was the launch trailer for A Plague's Tale.
Mm.
And it was like 2.5 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, this is an indie game? Are you kidding me? And then I saw the price tag. I'm like, you do not reflect an indie game.
Mm.
It's like $60. I was like, maybe. But then after playing the first one, Jessica, I think you would really like it.
Is it kind of like The Last of Us? Like, is it combat? Is it mostly sneaking?
It's mostly sneaking. You get like 1 or 2 weapons.
Mm.
Like, it's really like you're sneaking around. Just sneaking around. Maybe you have opportunities to knock out guards, but that's it.
No, it seemed like I was really interested in this footage. I was like, well, I probably should actually get around to playing the first one if this one's coming out soon. It like was ticking a lot of boxes for me. It seemed to have a really cool, like you said, like supernatural weird vibe going on. Definitely something I'd want to check out.
Like, I think the story is great. It's breathtaking. I think that came out in 2017, 2018.
Mm.
And it's still like, okay, granted, it's only a couple years ago, but it's like, they recently had like, I won't say like a remaster, but it was on PlayStation 5. And I'm like, yeah, you look like a game that could have been on PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that's high praise for like you say it's an indie developer?
Or
at least like a double A?
Double A.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say, I know it's not her. Really sounds like Daisy Ridley. Daisy Ridley is playing the main character. Like, it feels like when they were doing the casting call, it was like, can you do a Daisy Ridley impression?
I feel like I don't know what the development is, but I feel like they are actually making a TV show.
Oh, really?
So she just ended Star Wars. Just saying.
Just
want a
saying.
gig? I'm not her casting agent, but actually, what has she done after Star Wars?
12 minutes. Do you remember that game?
She was actually in the game.
Oh, did you? Oh, this was the game everyone was looking forward to. I think it was Annapurna published it. It had James McAvoy, Willem Dafoe, and Daisy Ridley in it. It was like a time loop one.
Now I'm remembering. Shoot, things she'd done like after Star Wars. Well, it's technically before. Remember that movie with Tom Holland and her?
Oh yes, I never actually saw it. Yeah, it was like a post-apocalyptic one.
Yeah, it's
where like all the adults are dead, or
all the.
something
I don't want to say
weird.
it's complicated, but it's like the real story is like the developmental hell of it all. But that's a whole nother podcast.
Daisy, just do the Plague Tale TV program. Take Mark's advice.
And now I'm remembering 12 minutes.
That was, yeah, like you definitely know what 12 minutes is, right?
I did, but it was like, the thing is, like, it was released on like Xbox first, so I didn't really like pay attention if it came on later. I'm like, oh, that 12 minutes thing. I'm like, eh.
I didn't hate it as much as everyone else, but it wasn't as good as it looked. And it was really weird that they made. Did they make her do an American accent or James McAvoy or both of them? It was just weird. It was like, why would you get them and make them change their accent? We all know what they sound like.
Can you do an American accent?
I'm not going to try.
If you want to, listen, if this is because you're offending Americans, don't worry, we offend each other every day. So it's like, I've read the news. We've done a lot of offending.
You still not gonna do it. You can't make me do it.
Hello, ma'am. Can I have a Starbucks?
So how you guys order your coffee over there? Hello, ma'am. I am a robot.
Can I have a McDonald's?
Just a McDonald's. Can I have a McDonald's?
Can I have a McDonald's?
How do we get out of this conversation?
How do we end this? By going on to the next topic. Whoa. Yeah. 2 out of 10 transition. Oh well. But this is actually exciting news. FromSoftware, they announced their next game is in, quote, final stages of development. Now, they didn't really give a lot of detail. There's been rumors that we talked about like many moons ago, like they might actually do like a sci-fi kind of thing. Some is still like speculation of how this might be medieval fantasy. We don't even know, like, is this a DLC project? Is this a full game? Like, how can we classify this? Jessica, what did you take about this news?
My only take was that no offense to any Armored Core fans out there, I've never played it, and I know that FromSoftware developed them as well, or at least published, sorry. And there's like rumors that it's going to be a new Armored Core game, which they used to publish a lot, and but they've fallen off since Dark Souls got so popular. And for the last like a while, like 6-7 years, it's mainly been like Souls-like games. So I hope this is a Souls-like game they're talking about, because it's been in development. They first announced this one at the same time as Elden Ring, although we still don't know what this is. So I'm hoping it is a kind of Souls-like game, or not like one of the ones, like, for me personally, Armored Core, or they've done a couple of like a random 3DS one and all. So I'm excited. It's been in development for a real long time. It's still unannounced. Elden Ring has came and gone. Also, he mentioned in this that they're definitely working on updates, and he didn't mention the word DLC, but pretty much it's going to get DLC. Like, all of the Dark Souls got DLC, Bloodborne got DLC,
Mhm.
Sekiro get DLC. Like they're just known for doing that.
Pretty much. And Armored Core fans, I'm happy you guys exist, but can you still sit on the bench for this one?
There's been a lot of Armored Core games. I went to see how many they'd made, and it was, I think what they've done with it is they kind of just they made too many, if you get what I mean, in a short amount of time. Probably
Is
got
that
burnt
your
out on
trivia
it.
question? And are you sure about your answer?
That's for later.
We'll explain that on a different podcast. Who knows? I want the right moment. I don't want to rush this one out, but
You want to
stay tuned
savor
in the
it.
future. Oh
Mm.
yes, it's very the
Mm.
evanescence of, I don't want to say failure, but my success. Yet
This
again,
is giving me big vibes of when I said the Uncharted movie would get a good Rotten Tomatoes score, and Kyle threw it in my face for like 4 podcasts worth.
oh, don't worry. I won't mention what I'm about to say, but we'll talk about it on the next news topic. But I ever since they're like, hey, we might do a sci-fi thing, like that's rumors. So I'm like, oh my god, yes, do it.
You're like, yeah, here's my
I mean,
money.
please, am I being rude? Please.
From
But
the current trends, it might be a space horror.
I would so be down.
Yeah, same.
If they're like, you know what, we're gonna do space horror. The internet should just be like, okay, you get a pass.
Yeah, like this doesn't count. It's fine.
But what would even be the space? Like, there's just so many things they can do. Like, would they even have like guns? I have
Yeah,
no clue.
that would be
But
cool. I'm glad you brought that up, Mark. I didn't actually know those rumors because I'm a recent Soulsborne convert, so I've not really been paying attention to the rumors about this.
we talked about that when Kyle was hosting. Like, he brought that up, and I just played Demon Souls for the first time, like the PlayStation 5. So he was like, so what do you think about this, Mark? I'm like, is it still going to be hard? Okay. I didn't really care. It was like, oh, that's cool. But now I'm like, just give me, take all the money I need.
It's funny how we've both done a complete 180. You're like, yeah, sure, I'll buy it. Thanks,
Yeah,
Elden Ring.
because I'm like, yeah, Demon Souls is really good. If I'm playing it more, I'm like, Demon Souls is amazing. If an Elden Ring, I'm like, just scratching on my neck. I'm like, you got any more? Give me that. Just, you know what? Give us 60 frames per second Bloodborne.
Yeah,
That's what the internet wants.
Even I've heard of this. Yes, just do it.
And I was like, they don't already have it? Oh well. But let's move on to Final Fantasy 16. We got a couple different updates, including the puppy has a name. This is cool. I wish I paid attention to that puppy. There's a little bit about like combat and summons, but I feel like the big one for us, the producer confirms it will not be open world. The quote, to bring a story that feels like it spans an entire globe and beyond, we decided to avoid an open world design that limits us to a single open world space and focus on an independent area-based game design that gives players a better feel of a truly, quote, global scale. Now, Jessica, as someone who said the Earth in Pokemon Go was the third best open world, that's what I was going to bring it up earlier. What do you think about this?
You phrased that really weird. Pokemon Go is the third best open world game. Okay. Which is to say, Google Maps is the third best open world game.
That's your list, which I have no problem with, but you got to own up to it.
It's just weird. Like, the Earth is the third best open world in gaming. The whole Earth is only number 3.
You can travel the Earth. This is the best open world. Go listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Just to go review that and call it, quote, chaotic. And quote, I don't know if that was a good podcast. I'll never let you live that down.
God, I'm editing this. I didn't keep my reputation in
Whoa!
check here.
Whoa! No hands!
Um,
Anyway, what do you think about no open world?
I'm kind of at the point now where games like 10 years ago, the whole big thing was we're going to be an open world now. We're going to pivot. We're going to be an open world game. Everyone wanted open worlds. It was amazing. People weren't slagging off Ubisoft so much as they are these days. And now I feel like everyone to try and like calm people down are like, well, it's not going to be totally open world. It's going to be like curated sections. So it's not just one big area. It's going to be multiple areas you can explore. And I'm happy about this because I did like Final Fantasy 15. I know a lot of people had issues with it, but it still sold like loads. And a lot of people liked it. I didn't really like the open world. It didn't really do it a lot for me. It the whole design of the party wasn't for me either. So I'm really interested to see what they're going to do to make it, because they were talking about making it feel like a truly global scale, and then having these little areas, and also that your party members that they'd be there, but they'd be AI, and you wouldn't get to control them because the whole thing is it's the icons, the summons. That's what you're going to be using for your fighting. So I'm really interested in Final Fantasy 16 now. Like I was really excited for it. This has got me pretty excited. I'm kind of at the point where when someone says they're not doing an open world, I'm totally fine with it, because when you hear open world, you're like, oh, 200-hour game now. Like I love Elden Ring, but my God, is it massive.
Yeah, open world games are like buffets. I'm really hungry for one, but then I have a lot. I'm like, guys, I need to like chill out and lay down and go into food coma.
Yeah.
But yet again, I'll have a craving. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna binge hard in open world game.
Exactly. Like I still like open world games, but hearing that Final Fantasy isn't doing that was a plus for me. Right. You're more recently in the Final Fantasy, right, Mark?
I've only played Final Fantasy, the OG, and then the remake.
7, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually did download. I bought the like OG actual first Final Fantasy on my iPad, and one of these days I'll play it.
You should. They'd be really good ones to get on the PlayStation Collection. They've been circulating into Game Pass every now and again. Like not 8 and 9 and 10. Yeah.
I did buy 8 on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I've not played it yet. I didn't really know it was going to be like. I knew like, okay, it's a different story, but the whole combat. I mean, we don't want to get into it. It's like, it's like, okay, here's what you know. We're gonna take that out. Here's this mumble jumbo. In short, you're gonna hate it, is what people told me. I'm like, I don't want to play that.
Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy 8 is my favorite, and I will willingly admit it probably has.
Whoa.
It has the most convoluted. Like, I can't believe I got so far as I did when I was younger, Mark, because I didn't even look at the tutorials. I just wanted to play the game. It's so the drawing system and everything, and having to junction the GFs and all. But it's my favorite. So now, whenever I hear summons in my head, it's GFs. That's what I always go to, and I always confuse myself when someone calls it a summon.
The only thing I know, this is a Final Fantasy 16, but if you do 16 divided by 2, it's 8.
Think
Just
about
let that
it.
one get. The only thing I remember is the opening with that badass operatic song.
Oh yeah, it has my favorite music of any Final Fantasy.
And it's like, whoa, you can't go that hard in the beginning of your game.
I do recommend you play it, but actually the Switch version is very good, because I bought it. Obviously, it's my favorite, so I was like, yeah, it's on the Switch, I'll get it. You can speed up the combat, so you don't have to draw so much to get your magic, to get your stats up. It is so. That's why I really love if 8 got a remake. I feel like it's just crying out for it, like updating those combat systems. But yeah, my question for this would be, are you going to get Final Fantasy 16? Like, is it interesting to you as like a new Final Fantasy fan with the remake?
I think I am.
Yay!
I would definitely like, even though I say like, maybe not day one, I feel like as the hype goes on, and
Mm,
especially like what games are coming around that. Because it
yeah.
says it's currently no specific date, just a window of summer 2023.
Hmm.
If it's like the only big notable game minus any like double A indie games, then I'll be like, yeah, I'll buy this. Why not?
Yeah, summer seems like a really great time for a huge RPG to come out.
And especially so, 16 is not connected to anything story
Mm-mm,
wise.
not
So,
at
oh,
all.
and I was like, okay, that's accessible. You were still playing a JRPG, so yeah, you're gonna get lost and confused. That's all part of the journey,
Yeah,
not the
it's part of the
destination.
course. Yeah, exactly.
As long as like the combat good and
Mm.
the graphics are good, whole presentation, I feel like I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, the combat was giving me like it was kind of reminding me of Final Fantasy VII Remake a bit, so I was
It
very happy
did.
with that.
So I
I
was
was like,
like,
yeah.
well, okay, I really dig that. And
And
even
I
not even like a turn-based guy, like I still think
yeah.
my favorite combat is the OG Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, really?
I
That's
know people
interesting.
don't like. I don't know why. It just maybe because I was good.
I love turn-based stuff, like I do, but I for action-wise, I actually think Final Fantasy VII Remake was the best I'd ever played, and not just even like a Final Fantasy game, like probably any JRPG. They're not known for their incredible action combat usually.
Oh well.
But Final Fantasy VII Remake was incredible, so I'm really glad that it looks to be taking some inspiration from it.
And it's like, are you so excited for 16? I'm like, yeah, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth
Oh yeah. Oh,
next.
and your dog's called Torgal, by the way, just to the people were crying out for it. Your dog, who can maybe be a party member. That was teased.
I wish I could just name the puppy myself.
You might be able to.
I mean, because I don't know if I ever told you what I would name my puppy, but
No.
I would give it a full name. I would give it Bark O'Callahan.
Park O'Callahan.
That's
And that's
trademark,
what you'd
guys.
call it? You'd call it Bark
I wouldn't be
O'Callahan?
like I wouldn't be like Bark, come here. It'd be like Bark O'Callahan.
You need to hear the full joke every time.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I respect that. Yeah, it's a good name.
Or for short, Bark Jr.
Bark Jr. Okay. Yeah, you got it all planned. Well,
Yeah, so
fingers
Final
crossed you can
Fantasy
name
16.
yeah, Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, hopefully I can name it. But yet again, it'll
Mm.
be like O'Callahan. It'll be like Ocala.
Yeah.
Too many characters, Mark. Or in this case, Bark. But anything else about Final Fantasy 16 before we move on to the last bit of news?
I hope it doesn't get delayed. That would be worst case scenario. It comes out during Q4 2023. Like, no, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of games out then.
It'll be like coming out next summer, and be like, whoa, what do you mean by next summer?
Yeah.
I'm still confused about it. If it's still not a bit, you can check it out last week.
It's not going to. If you want to know exactly when winter is, yeah, check out episode 123 of the KeenGamer Podcast.
Did we even come up with an answer? Or you
Dan
said
came up
like,
with a very specific answer for dates.
or are you like, can we just move on, Mark? And it's like, okay. But speaking of moving on, hey, we had a
Hey,
transition.
I'll give you a 6.
Aw, thanks. The Quarry reportedly was actually a Stadia title before Google downsized its whole operation, and actually still did a High on Life,
Mm-hmm.
which was the Justin Roiland game, the Rick and Morty first-person shooter that we saw in the Xbox showcase, which I can actually buy that.
Mm-hmm.
But the Supermassive, I'm like, wow, that's a big title for him, for at least
Exactly.
Stadia.
Mm.
And
That was
actually,
my overall thoughts, Mark. It was just like, oh, this would have got me to subscribe to Stadia. Both of these games.
oh yeah, I'll be like, oh wow, you would actually got me. But of
Exactly. And I'm like,
course,
oh no, it didn't go like that.
yeah, remember when Stadia was going to change the world? It didn't.
Not with my internet.
I mean, maybe it did, and it's like, boom, COVID.
Mm. Yeah, just blame COVID for everything. I think that's what Stadia would do. Oh, It wasn't
Yeah,
us.
everyone's like, oh, like you could take it on the go, and it's like we can't at all.
At all.
I
Yeah,
gotta
that was
use
my. No, go ahead, Mark.
I gotta use internet for like work stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't.
Would you have
It,
subscribed? Because for me,
no.
really, if I would have heard Supermassive Games was exclusive to Stadia, I'd be like, definitely, I'll subscribe. Although it's
Oh, I
tier.
thought you meant like, were you subscribed at all? I'm like, oh no. But if it was like, hey, Supermassive's next game and the Justin Roiland game I like, I've been like, okay, let's try it out.
Like that's the secret formula, exclusive games, and they had it, but apparently they just didn't implement it soon enough.
Well, they downsized in 2020. Honestly, I think COVID wasn't the main reason, but I feel like it was definitely a big factor.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm surprised like it wasn't like a what is it, Amazon Luna,
yeah.
I mean that could have had potential, but oh well. As in like I'm surprised like if you didn't go to like a Stadia game, then why not Luna? But you know what? I don't care because I didn't have to get Luna. I got to play on my PlayStation 5. Why am I even talking about this? It's like, oh man, I wish things were actually worse for me.
I wish I had to have subscribed to play.
Yeah, and I wish I would subscribe to another service.
That's what everyone's crying out for.
But anything else about this news of the Quarry?
No, I just thought it was very interesting. I'm like, these two games basically targeted for me. That it was like, yeah, I would have subscribed to this. But
and
yeah,
it's like, wow, you definitely got the Mark O'Callahan demographic.
Yeah.
Even the Bark O'Callahan.
Yeah.
But we are moving on. The news is all set. And we are moving on to the Quarry. Yes, we are back and we are ready to talk about the Quarry. And we brought on a very special counselor with us, someone who actually reviewed the Quarry for KeenGamer. Please welcome, first time to the podcast, Emanuel Ortiz. Ortiz, right?
Yes, Ortiz. Yeah, that's good.
Emanuel, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Very excited to talk about this game. Finally.
I'm so honored. I'm so excited. Finally talk about full spoilers. We still have Jessica with us. Jessica, how you doing?
I'm still here. I'm ready to talk about the Quarry. Just like you guys, like I haven't really been able to talk about it with anyone, so it'll be really fun going full on spoilers with it.
It was dark in my apartment, but all of a sudden, oh, looks like a full moon with this light.
Yeah, for audio listeners, there's a light in the background.
There's a light, and I'm like, this light's terrible, but I'm like, either Emmanuel's gonna see me like, basically I'm like a Muppet, you just see my face with this dark background, or this light, and I'm like,
Yeah, the light's above me too, and it's a little bright. I don't think you guys can see it, but it's a moon over here too.
We're just trying to get as much light as we can while we talk about spooky Quarry.
Because I'm a wimp. This is actually probably our first nighttime KeenGamer podcast.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
As we mentioned on top of the show, Emanuel, you wrote the KeenGamer review, which I highly recommend everyone do at KeenGamer.com. You did a great job. You gave it a 7.5. So I forget, it was a couple days after it came out. What do you think about the game right now? Do you still stand by that 7.5? Any issues? Any positive things you look back on? What's the full scope?
It's weird because when I first wrote that, yeah, they gave it a 7.5, but like part of me wanted to give it like something higher. But then I thought, nah, there's this and this. I can't really give it. Then I started replaying the game and I'm like, 7.5 actually sounds about right. I like, and maybe even like a 7, kind of, after replaying it 2 or 3 times. I still like the game very much. It's just like, after replaying it, I just found like the things that bothered me kind of stuck out more. The things I liked just stayed just neutral, I guess, and how I liked them. I don't know. So I'd probably still give it a 7.5, maybe a 7. I don't know. something around that.
I mean, Jess and I will definitely give our scores at the end, but I don't want to speak to you, Jessica, but I feel like this is a game people should definitely check out in the future.
Yeah, like I agree with Emmanuel. It's a good game. I think it's a very good Supermassive game. But yeah, I feel like if you don't want to play it now, definitely check it out later on.
Because we are recording this at the end of June. It's not spooky season yet. Hopefully there's a good sale for it.
I'm kind of expecting them to release that other game that they were working on. What's it called?
Oh yeah,
The Devil in Me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
They said they were releasing that this year, which is why I was surprised this game came out. So I'm expecting that maybe in October, hopefully. Hopefully they didn't push it to 2023 with the rest of these very highly anticipated games.
If it does come out in October, there is like a lot of like spooky type games coming out in October. Not even, like Scorn. I'm blanking on a lot of them. It's not spooky, but isn't Gotham Knights coming out in October, Mark, or is that September?
That's October. Forspoken for PlayStation 5 is coming out in October. We just talked about in the news a Plague Tale Requiem, October 18th. High on Life for Xbox.
October's pretty stacked.
Pretty stacked. Maybe God of War? It's probably November. Hopefully November.
2023.
Yeah.
Don't put that voodoo on me.
Sorry. Touch wood.
Yeah.
Man, I hope I look like a genius, but I'll look like an idiot. It's like the tarot card. I am the fool.
The very first card.
Yes.
Nice.
But thank you. So there's so much that we want to talk about. Let's get into the history of Supermassive, or just our personal history. Emanuel, you touched upon this in the beginning of your review, but just to restate it for listeners, what is your history with this developer?
So I played all their games. Till Dawn was my first, but I played that. I actually played that one late. I didn't play it when it first came out, so it was like 2 or 3 years later. Somehow I didn't get spoiled on anything. I didn't know what I was walking into either, except for the fact that it was a horror game and that I had choices. Absolutely loved the game. Afterwards, I was like, man, I really want more games like this. So then when they announced the Dark Pictures anthology, I was super hyped. And Madon, I believe it's called, came out. I hated that game. I felt so bad. Then I was like, man, I hope the next game is better. I think it was Little Hope, the next game. Yeah.
I think so.
I hated it at first, but then as it went on, I was like, okay, this is a step in the right direction. Then House of Ashes, I liked that one quite a bit, but it still wasn't like Until Dawn tier for me. And then of course the Quarry that just came out, which I quite enjoyed.
Yeah, Jessica, what about you?
Same as Emmanuel. I feel like a lot of people's first game with them would have been the first game I was aware of, which I'll get into, but it was Until Dawn. Absolutely loved it, played it so much. I say it's one of my, like, we talk about it on the podcast all the time, Mark, like it's just such a good game to play, like on your own with friends, like you could replay it. It's got that great thing I love of them, where you can try and get the best ending or the worst ending. I feel like it's set the precedent for what they're doing these days with their games. I also played Man of Medan after that, and I didn't like it. Although I think maybe that's because I've ruined it with playing co-op. I don't know if you played on your own or co-op, Manuel, but I was playing it with someone and we were telling each other what was going on. So we kind of just knew how to make everyone survive, and it wasn't tense, and I didn't like the story. So I didn't play it. It kind of put me off it a bit. It's not as if I didn't want to play Little Hope or House of Ashes. I just hadn't got around to them, but I wasn't as hyped to play them as I was going in the Man of Medan. So I actually haven't played them yet. But it turns out, when I was looking at their publishing history, that the very first game I played for them was Doctor Who: The Eternity Clock. I don't know if any of your Doctor... Yeah.
That was made by them?
Yeah. It was a...
No way.
I believe this is the one I'm thinking of. It was the web game where you played as Matt Smith's Doctor. I'm going to click on this just to make sure. And there we go. Amy Pond was in it. It was okay, but it was like just this weird, like something that you play on your your computer in like the early 2000s or something. Like it was okay. It was like a sneaking game. That they developed that, which I was taken aback by, going by their history. So that was technically the first one I ever played. They've had quite the turnaround since then, to what they're doing now. But yeah, that's my history of them. I do like them, and I was very excited for the Quarry coming out because it looked the most Until Dawn of anything they've done so far.
Well, I guess my first game was technically the Doctor Who.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember, mind blown. I think it was 2019. I first played Until Dawn. I remember it was October, Sunday night, like Sunday afternoon, like 7 o'clock. NFL games just got done. I'm like, you know what? I want to play something scary. And everyone's like, I got to play Until Dawn. I'm like, okay. And I started playing. I'm like, is that Rami Malek? And then I looked at the cast. I'm like, oh my God, what? And then I just played it and I got so hooked. Like, I don't want to say atmospheric in terms of the game, but just what I did to my, like, it was just all dark. It just felt like watching a horror movie, not just in the content, but just having that environment around you. Especially during October, it just hit the mark. I haven't played any other games until they announced the Quarry, obviously. I'm like, this looks more Until Dawn for me.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely talk about it later if it's on that level or maybe even better, but who knows. But what I really want to talk about, I don't even know where to start. I mean, there's the characters, your decisions. Definitely combining them both. So, Emanuel, you definitely had some strong takes.
Yeah.
This is a safe space. Tell us what happened.
Want me to run through who lived and who died, or my decision making? There was so much. Oh my God. Yeah. So I went into this game like I go into these games trying to save everybody just from the get go. Like even if I dislike them. But there was some people that I just somehow I could not save them for the life. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Jacob was a struggle. I don't know, man. This poor man. I don't know how I could save this guy. It took me even in my second and third playthrough, I still ended up killing him like some way. He just kept on dying. And Emma, I have the most dumb death with her. I don't know if you guys had
Do tell.
same. I don't know if you had the same like death. But when she's walking after going in the lake, she goes to this like cabin. At least I think it's a cabin. It's just like some building or the house or whatever.
Yeah.
There's this monster in the ceiling and it's like banging. And she says something very just like so dumb that I just like, I don't know. She more or less said, do I open up this door that will lead to my perilous death, or do I grab a change of clothes? I don't know what I was on that day, but I tried the 500 IQ, this situation, and I'm like, okay, there's no way in God's blue earth that these creators are going to just kill this girl after they basically said, do you want to die or do you want to live? I'm like, there's no way. This is like reverse psychology. I'm just going to open the door. It's perfectly fine. Open the door, decapitated. I was like, oh, I had to pause the game when I saw that. I honestly did not think that would happen. Yeah, no, that death, like even now, I'm still thinking about that and I cry.
That sounds like, have you ever seen Scary Movie when it's the decision, safety or death?
Yep, exactly. Yep. Oh my God. Yeah. So that was my first death. And at that point, I was like, maybe I shouldn't think so much about this. But I kept doing it anyways. And then I ended up getting Jacob killed in the how far did you guys make it with Jacob? I'm so curious. He was imprisoned next to a werewolf.
He died there for me as well.
Really?
So,
I wasn't paying attention.
Okay. So you were trying to free him then?
I felt like, hey, you should probably just stay here.
I thought the same thing. So my thought process was like, okay, Ryan just said, I hear somebody, they sound close. And then I also like accidentally touched the bars, so it made a noise. So I'm like, oh no, they're gonna know I'm coming. So I need to get out of here. He's perfectly safe. He's fine. He's locked up. Like, what's gonna happen? And then later on, I broke the power supply electricity box, and then the werewolf just eat him, and I felt really bad.
What happened for you, Mark? With Jacob?
Jacob was fine. Like, he was like my like easy character.
Wow.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was like, do you like do you like fight the hunter? I'm like, nah, I don't think that's a good decision.
Yeah.
You just play cool. And it's like, here's the blood. I'm like, all right, cool. I think I'm safe. I don't know what the blood is yet. And then it's like, I didn't like fool around with any like the electrical stuff. And you know what? I killed the werewolf, which was actually Nick.
Oh, you let Laura do
in the cage, so you didn't stop her?
Laura killed Nick.
It's interesting, yeah.
But the thing is, I didn't even think it was Nick. I'm like, yeah, dead. And then it's like, oh.
That's one of the things in this. I got so confused of who was who. Like, wait, who am I shooting here? Is this Nick? Is this the son? Like, what? Who's dying?
Now, I didn't really care about Nick, so I only had 2 deaths in mind. So Nick, and then chapter 6, poor Abby.
Oh, that bit. One of the isn't that like the most violent death in it? Like from what I've seen.
I think so. Well, I think Mama Hackett got the most violent death from me.
Oh God, yes, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
my. They lingered on that shot for a while. I was surprised. I'm like, oh.
And I'm like, I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it was the Mama Hackett or the Papa Hackett, but someone was like trying to do CPR, and I'm like,
God, yeah.
I know they're like backwoods, but it's like, nah, I think
she's dead. Yeah.
You can't fight her now. But in chapter 6, Nick is like being so creepy. He's under that influence, and then he just all of a sudden, becomes a werewolf, which we'll definitely talk about that. And I can finally admit it is a werewolf. That is awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know that at first.
Just to jump ahead, like, I accidentally spoiled myself because I'm like, how many trophies? And then it was like all the chapter ones, and then I saw one of them was accept the bite of a werewolf. And that was actually, but you know what? That was the decision. I'm like, all right, I'm buying this day one. I know I talked to you, Jessica, a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago. Like, I want a werewolf game. So technically, Quarry gave me what I wanted. Ish, but we'll talk about that. Anyway, so it's like, do you shoot Nick? Do you kill your crush? And I'm like, I can't do it. And Nick's like, wham! Just like, decapitates her. And I was like, well, that's not good. I was like, keep Ariel Winter alive. And that haunted me.
That was brutal. So that was your first death?
That was my first death. I didn't realize I killed Nick until the epilogue. It's like, I'm like,
find out, yeah.
Oh,
that guy.
It was more of like that one gif of like, oh, anyway. I was like, oh. But I'm surprised. So if Emanuel had trouble with Jacob and Emma, Jessica, who did you have trouble with?
So I actually did I thought I was doing pretty good in my. Oh, hold on, Amanda. I forgot to ask. Did we get everybody who died in yours?
No. Okay, I had a lot of people die. I feel.
Oh,
really
okay. Yeah. Reprise.
Yeah. So I had.
This is a safe space.
Yeah, you can tell us.
I had Jacob and Emma, and then I had. Okay, so I had Caitlin.
Oh no.
And she died during this like moment where I have to aim and shoot. I don't know what I was on. I like as soon as the option came up to shoot, immediately shot the wall.
Oh
guy,
no.
werewolf immediately jumped on me, tore my head off. Did that some sort of Hulk smash, which he grabs me, just throws me around, died.
Was that at the end?
That's when I think it was Caleb that was in the
Yes.
lodge. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was chasing everybody. Yeah, and then I had Max also. I tried 500 IQ that situation too, and I did not think about it very well, I guess. So he was on the island after I think I killed Chris Hackett, so he was cured.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, he's on this like secluded island. There's water all around. I know 1000% for a fact if I leave him there, he's going to survive. No questions asked. No werewolves are going to be able to get to him. I know that for a fact. But what if somebody on the island needs me? I mean, I have to get like maybe he can show up and save somebody. So I'm like, let me try that. Like worst case scenario, I'll just like I'm sure I'll have some QTE. I'll like just successfully complete them. Everything's gonna be okay. Take the boat, get to the mainland immediately. Just like I don't know who it is. It wasn't Caleb. It might have been Caleb. I don't remember which werewolf it was. But they were just
I get
waiting
confused
there.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were just waiting there for me. He gets off the boat immediately decapitated. I'm like,
Yeah, it's
wow.
a lot of immediate decapitations in this
Like just
game.
immediately. I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh my god. Like I just try to think it too much and do it too much, and it just didn't pay off the way I thought it would pay off. So I should have just left him on the island.
Yeah, that's
it
what
was-
my decision. Like, do you go? Like, do you swim or do you stay put? I'm like, I'm on an island. I'm good.
I should have trusted my initial gut with that. That's what I was thinking too, but then I don't know. I just thought about the other characters. Maybe they needed my help. I don't know. Maybe I could have done something.
I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take a 5.
And that probably saved your life, so it's fine.
Being lazy always works out.
Yeah. So I got those 4 killed. Did I get anybody else killed? I think I had Ryan, Laura live. I had Dylan live. Abby lived. I think it was just those ones. Yeah. Everybody else like just ate it, I guess. No pun intended.
Immediately
Hey.
decapitated. Yeah. So mine's was, like I said, it was going pretty smoothly. Nobody had died yet. With that thing with Emma, I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not. Like, what? What's going on here? She was probably, I know we'll get in the character, she was probably my least favorite in the thing. So I was like, if she dies, it's not a big deal. But like you, Emmanuel, I was like, I don't want to get the bad ending straight off. And also bringing the tarot cards, I got so confused with the tarot cards, like trying to decipher their meanings about who was going to die and when. So I think at that point I was like, I thought I deciphered something that said don't open it straight away. Turned out it was wrong, but it led me to putting the clothes on anyway. So she was fine. My first death was Jacob in the cell, and it was because I did not look at the number of where the werewolf was in, so I accidentally opened the werewolf's cage. He didn't die straight away though, because I didn't open the middle one properly. So I opened the werewolf's cage and I opened Jacob's cage, and then Ryan was like, all right, bye. I was like, well, that was a bit rude. So later on, whenever the power goes out, it just mauled Jacob to death.
Yeah.
He was my first death, and then same as you, Emmanuel, I was like, well, clearly I'm supposed to swim across the water here with Max. Like, you want me to stay on the island?
Oh no.
Oh
no.
I thought it was hilarious how it was just literally an immediate death. You don't get like a consequence later on. He's just dead. You made the wrong decision.
It's like, what? It was just like, he's dead. Okay, moving on.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
It was like,
yeah, basically.
anyway. Yeah. And then I feel like I'm probably in the minority here at the end when it was like, kill Silas. I was like, but you're making me feel really guilty for killing Silas. Like, he's just here whimpering. So I didn't shoot him either time. So Laura died, but Ryan survived because he had the blood on him.
Yeah.
And Travis died at that point for me as well, the sheriff. Like, my version of Laura and Travis, like, I was really aggressive to him at the beginning with Laura. Like, I picked all the wrong options, basically.
Oh, okay.
But they kind of had an agreement in the middle. So they didn't kill each other during that bit where Laura turned into the werewolf. But at the end, he tried to kill her, and then he died, and then Laura died. So, yeah, that was my deaths.
Oh no.
So they
Yeah.
were all safe.
Yeah, one thing I was really interested in, I let Jacob have the blood on his face, but when he was in the cage, the werewolf still killed him. I don't know what was the point of that then.
Oh, that's a good point.
I don't know. Did he actually have the blood on him in the cage?
I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember. And one other thing, just remembering it now.
And it was all red light, so it's like we
Yeah.
really can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they're like, here's some water, and like he was an idiot and just washed it off.
Yeah, there was a cutscene, director's cut of the Quarry.
I can see Jacob doing that.
He was a certain type.
We'll get into it.
One other thing I wanted to bring up, Abigail got bit for me. She was the very first character to get bit, and she never turned into a werewolf. But like, apparently that's just, people think it's a bug, but apparently it's just in the game. Like, she got like mauled on her neck with Nick in the beginning, but never turned into a werewolf for me.
Huh.
So I've read something about like that. I didn't like watch the footage. Like I was like, okay, bye, Nick. I didn't help him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, bye.
Oh dear.
So maybe that's why he killed me.
It's possible. Might be it.
I had it coming, but I'm like, so if you get scratched, you're not a werewolf, but if you get bit, are. So I don't know.
She definitely got. Well, wait, maybe she did just get scratched up. Yeah, maybe you're right.
Maybe, but there's some plot holes because I'm like, wait, but we'll get into it. Emanuel, did you kill Silas?
I did, even though that fortune-telling lady was basically begging me not to. I just felt like he was gonna do something. My second playthrough, I didn't do it, and then I got the same result as Jessica. Yeah. Everyone just got decapitated, and I regretted it immediately. I'm like, you begged me not to do this, and this is what you give me. Okay, understood. But yeah,
I was like, well, unfortunately, what was her name? Eliza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eliza's like, don't kill my baby. Also, Eliza, I'm gonna put my baby in the cage and show him around. So I'm like, you're not the best.
Yeah. It was weird. That entire thing was weird. I actually, it's weird because I do consider this more like a creature feature type of thing, but at the same time, it's like there's this weird mystical element that I just never understood fully. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know how, like, this fortune-telling lady is here. I don't know how she's. I guess it plays like the curator in the other games, but I guess the break the third wall type of thing. Fourth wall.
It gives me big Man of Medan vibes with her.
Yeah. And then I just don't like. It was like a curse that she like. Was her child a werewolf before? Because they call him the wolf boy.
I think it was more of like there's an actual like genetic condition, even though like I don't think that was the case for Silas. Like people look like a werewolf, like hair all over and like different eyes and stuff. I forget like the actual term for it, but I think it was more of like a quote freak show, as in like here's the wolf boy, and as Ben, how I interpret it, like she's a gypsy, she knows magic. Not the best stereotype for gypsies, but that's on you, Supermassive.
Yeah.
And if any gypsies are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't curse us. We love you.
I feel like that's one of the problems, though. Like, we're all like, oh, my interpretation of this, because mine's is that he was a werewolf, and when he got out, he infected everyone. So, yeah, they didn't clear that up too much.
Yeah, but I was trying to think. So, what was funny? So, this whole Eliza thing is a little confusing. So, at the end of chapter 9, you get this card, like all the cards, and I forget what it was, and
the Hierophant.
Something like Hierophant, but like every card you get, she's like, you got the Fool. You know what they say about the Fool? Yada yada. Oh, you got the Moon. They say this, and then it's like, whoa, where'd you get that card? Like, I'm like, whoa,
yeah,
this ain't the energy you had before. And then it's like, boom, flashback. I'm like, oh, could I have actually killed Eliza? There's a quick time event, and like this metal rod, and I was like, I should kill you. But I didn't. I was a good person.
She is dead though, like because I did the same. Like I dodged the spear and then I went in, but I think like in the canon, in the lore, or whatever, she does go out and die in the fire or something, and that's her ghost haunting the place, right?
And yet again, it's like, wait a second, or the documentary, not documentary, the podcast, or we the podcast. And when I was like thinking too hard about this, I'm like, I was here for Brenda's son, and now I'm in the lore of it.
For me, like I feel like that was definitely the weakest part. Like in Until Dawn, you had the Wendigos, and then you had Rami Malek's character being the evil one.
Yeah.
In this, I feel like they were like, okay, this is the main one, the werewolf is, but also we've got this weird mysticism thing going on. We want to have like two going on at once again. I feel like it was definitely the weaker of those two, and I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It made some interesting shots. Like I don't know if you guys noticed Eliza in the car in the beginning with Max and Laura.
Yeah, for a quick second, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I saw her like in the background during Emma's walk with her phone. Like I'm not sure, but I think I saw her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she showed up a couple times.
Gave me a little scare.
There's light around. It's okay.
I got the full moon.
That's a bad thing in this situation.
Yeah, it is.
But let's talk about so Jess, that's all the characters that died for you?
Yes, Jacob, Max, and Laura.
By the way, I did not appreciate Eliza. It was like, I will haunt your soul. And I just want to be like, listen, Eliza, I don't think you're the best mom. I don't want to parent shame, but I think you made some bad choices that led to this decision.
Do you know what's even worse than that, Mark? I chose not to shoot Silas, and she was still angry at me. I don't know if what happened to you, Emanuel. Yeah, she was like, I knew what you were going to do. And I'm like, but I didn't shoot him.
Did you raise your gun?
Yes. Maybe I did.
I think that was enough for her to be like, oh, you're thinking about it now. I don't like you. Because I think that's what it was. But I didn't shoot him either. And she's
so picky with her tarot cards and her don't shoot my son.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Jessica, you should have known about this because she had that same energy the whole game. Oh, you didn't bring my... I know you weren't going to do it. Like, I didn't do it.
She was in character. I will say, though, the actress, what's her name? Grace Zabriskie? I thought she was really good. Like, I feel like her animation was the best because she didn't animate too much, if you get what I mean. She just sat in her chair and was kind of like disappointed with you. I loved her actress, even if I was... Stop asking me about the tarot cards.
Like, was I annoyed with Eliza? Yes. But it wasn't a writing thing. It definitely was a performance thing. It was like, you're giving like passive-aggressive ant vibes, which strangely works. Like, you didn't do that. I knew you were going to kill my son. And it's like, but yet again, I killed her son. And she was like, I will haunt you to the day you die. I was like, you already are.
I was wondering if they're going to do more with that. Like, they kind of just ended off with her saying that. And I don't know. Like, I knew there was going to be an epilogue, but it turned out to be the podcast, I believe. So
I feel like it was kind of like to try and keep the spooky with you. It was like, you ever hear a noise? That's Eliza.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's what they were trying to Doctor Who it.
Yeah, like, oh my God, Jessica, now you actually think of it, like the episode Blink, where you first introduced the wiping, like that 10th Doctor, that warning.
Yeah,
but imagine if it was like more passive aggressive, like you could move your eyelids if you want to be dead.
Yes. I'd love to hear her giving that monologue. Yeah.
Wait until the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. But I think that's all the characters. Abby, Nick. I
feel like this is a good idea to maybe not list them, but who was your favorite and who was your least favorite?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first, Mark?
I'll like Caitlin. 100%.
I agree.
And you might say Mark because you're a big Brenda Son fan, and I say and she was also the best written.
Yeah, well, she was another perspective here. I didn't know Brenda Song. Never seen her in anything before. She was the best.
Now you're a fan. Welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Watch Sweet Life of Zack and Cody on Disney Plus. Binge it. You're not caught up with current TV? Go on the old TV.
Very different character, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God. Can you imagine London Tipton and the Quarry.
Oh, that would have been. Oh, if they were like just so happened to be best friends or something, and they. Oh, that would have been interesting. Or
Jessica,
Zach and Cody.
I know you don't. You're gonna be totally lost by Emanuel. Mr. Mosby.
That sounds from. Oh no. Oh yeah. The
Get
the
him!
manager.
We should have
Yeah. What is he doing nowadays? I wonder.
He's
I don't
doing
think I've-
cameos and he's referencing being Mr. Mosby.
I
Capitalizing that fame. And good for
have
him.
not seen him for so long.
So. He's in my thoughts every day.
Is he? Okay.
Every day.
Him and Brenda Song.
And Brandon's son, whatever. But yeah, Caitlin was definitely my favorite. I also loved Dylan. And I was like, wait a second. Is he, I won't say, I feel like he definitely wasn't straight, but I was like, him and Ryan definitely had a thing. But I was thinking, like, is it Ryan liking Dylan or Dylan having a crush on Ryan? Or maybe both.
For me, he was definitely not straight.
Yeah, and then again, he straight vibes off of
it. And I'm like, okay, I think my gaydar still works, but I'm like,
oh my god.
But I was like, you know what? I'm like, but the thing is, I always like the distracted boyfriend. Like, I know I should be looking at Caitlin, but I'm looking at Dylan like,
oh, nice meme reference. Nice.
Hey.
That's Mark's whole personality summed up. Meme reference.
Welcome to the podcast, Emanuel and new Apple podcast users. Anyway, so I love them. Abby, she was sweet. All that. I loved Laura. Definitely like middle of chapter 7 onward. Like I liked her, but it was like, oh yeah, you existed. But then it's like how I played her. Like she was like transformed. Like she wasn't like, oh, I'm going to college. It was more like I'm going to kill Chris.
Yeah.
Actually, that sounds a lot more sad. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to kill Chris. I'm like, oh, that's actually sad. And you know what? I forget the sheriff's name. I just know him by Ted Raimi, but...
Oh, Travis Hackett?
It's not that I loved him.
Hackett.
I loved Ted Raimi's performance.
Yeah. He put up a hell of a performance, yep.
Because I feel like we don't see the type of roles for him. It's more of like, I don't want to say zany or wacky, but it's more of like having that depth from him. It's like, oh, he can be scary, creepy, he can be a jerk, but you also feel sympathetic. It's like,
yeah,
family sucks, am I right?
Yeah, when his mom was shouting at him, I was like, oh no.
Now, on the characters I don't like, actually, this is an interesting debate. Who caused the mess?
I mean, was it
Jacob for actually like sabotaging the car, or Emma for just being Emma?
Oh man!
Hey, I know I shouldn't root for the jock in this situation.
Yeah.
Who did sabotage? But I'm like, every choice, it's like, Emma. Maybe it's just a communication thing. And we will definitely talk about that Truth or Dare scene.
Yeah.
It's Emma's fault.
I think it's Emma's fault. I'm sorry.
I'm sticking with Jacob.
But
Emma's not great, but it was definitely Jacob's fault.
Okay, it was definitely Jacob, but I don't like Emma.
Okay, yeah.
You're like, okay, I can see.
Yeah. But maybe because I played because I only did one playthrough, and I was like, everyone's a nice character. That's my reality. Even though the writers are like, no, we'll try to not make that work. But and it's like, okay, so I want to jump into the Truth or Dare scene.
Okay, go ahead.
Emma is the worst best friend ever.
Yeah. Right after Abby's just said, oh, I think I like Nick. Oh, I'm going to snog Nick.
Hi, Emmanuel and I are Americans. Snog is a
Sorry,
makeout.
sorry.
I'm gonna assume that's like kissing or something.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
It is kissing. It's
Okay.
nothing dirtier than that.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, if I search this in Urban Dictionary, that better
Don't
be
search
like
Urban
top 2
Dictionary for
results.
one.
Hey, I try to be educated.
On Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, I'm a hip with the slang.
Okay, sorry.
Oh man.
Yeah, memes. Anyway, so
Memes.
so Emanuel's like, come on, Abby, I know you love Nick. And Abby's like, what if it doesn't work out? And Emanuel's like, come on. And then all of a sudden, it's like, who do you want to make out with? And it's like, I think I chose Nick because I'm like, I actually forget what my choice was, but she makes out with Nick. And it's not like I have to do this. This is the game. Like, mwah. It was like, they were snogging.
Yeah.
They were full on snogging.
Yeah.
They were being real teens in a horror film about that, weren't they?
Yes. To quote Jessica's culture, very Randy. I got that right. I watched Austin Powers.
I do not say, nobody says that. Maybe in 60s when they said it.
Well, this is what happens when I base cultures on parody movies.
Going from that as well, sorry, this is an aside. My first one, I never got the option of who Dylan should kiss. So throughout the entire play, not Dylan, sorry, Ryan. So throughout the entire playthrough, Ryan like kind of didn't like Caitlin or Dylan. When he was having the conversation with Laura at the end, it was like, I don't really like any of them. Was that what it was like with you, Emmanuel?
I had the option at first. I don't know what I did later on. I on my second or third playthrough, I got the same conversation that you had with Laura.
Okay.
And I kind of like that conversation because it kind of opened up because he said, like, I'm well aware that they both like me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like either of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. I just like this character more for that, or for some reason. It made it more mysterious too. Like I just didn't understand his point of view. But I don't know. It just opened up his character more for me.
And I forgot to mention, I did love Ryan.
I love Ryan.
Yeah, I liked Ryan.
Absolutely
too.
love Ryan.
Yeah.
And Jessica, I mentioned this the last time we talked about the Quarry. It sounds like the actor is doing an impression of Noah, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard Noah on the podcast, Manuel, but it's Justice Smith talking. That's
really?
what Noah sounds like. Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow.
Like Noah, shout out to Noah. He has like the smoothest, deepest voice. It's like, hey guys, like, how you doing? I love Fallout 4.
Just like that. Okay.
But Ryan's like, guys, I don't really know what we're doing with Chris and anything else, but the Hag of Hackett's Quarry. And no, I don't think that's a good idea. That's a 7 out of 10 a minute.
I love his voice. I don't know why. It's just every time he spoke, I'm just like, yeah, speak more, please.
And the thing is, like, he like has such like a, I don't want to say like, oh, he has such a high pitched voice, but like his quote natural voice, which you hear like in Detective Pikachu, he's in that.
Yeah.
And Jurassic World, the sequel to that one. And it's like, he's like, let me just go down a little more down the baritone and a little more smooth like butter, and also a loner. And anyway, you're like, I can dig it.
There's so many lines from him that I really enjoyed. Like, it's just like one-liners. When he was speaking to Laura, for example, she was, I don't remember. Oh, she said something along the lines of, do you do that all the time? Immediately recoil into your shell every time you having a conversation or something along those lines. And he just said something like, maybe I don't want to talk to you anymore. But the way he says it is just so sassy. I love his voice. It's so good.
It's one of my favorite sassy moments. I love Dylan. It's Chris's office, and they're getting the phone.
Oh, I love
and
this.
He's like, call 9011.
Oh
What?
man, yeah.
What?
9/11.
Who said 9/11?
I also love the
911.
bit, the bit for him when
911.
Ryan asked him, "Can you make the phones go faster?" And he was like, "I can encourage them." Yay, go phones!
Yeah, I can
Dylan's
encourage
great,
them.
Yeah, I feel like the whole cast of this, the deliveries they had better chemistry than Until Dawn. Like the
Yeah.
I think
acting,
so.
the teen dialogue. Like yes, it's stupid, but it's funnier.
Hmm.
And it was
So,
a little like, I don't want to say like self-deprecating a little bit, but I feel like if they were like, hey, we're coming out with a game, it's all before the Quarry, and it's like, what is it about? It's like camp life. I would play that. I would legit play that. Okay, counselors, this is parasailing. Dylan, you want to take this? I'm just gonna go listen to my podcast. But
Emmanuel, who were your favorites and then least favorites then?
so it was a trio of my favorite. It was Ryan, Dylan, and Kaylin. Those three were just like the ultimate dream team for me. I loved them
100%.
so much. At first, I thought Dylan was a little weird. I wasn't sure
Mm.
how I liked his dialogue. He kind of seemed like he was poking fun at like Ryan and some other characters. I was like, ah, yeah. But then after I got to like spend more time with him, there's so many lines that he says. It's like the one you're talking about like encouraging the phone. I lost it when he did that. And then he like leans in, he's like, go, go. And then he's like,
Yeah.
no, I don't think it's working. The way he delivered the line is just so good.
Mhm.
I don't know. Ryan, yeah, we already talked about the voice. Very nice voice. I liked his character quite a lot. Laura I liked too. Max was fine. Least favorite. I mean, that's just I think we all know who's the least favorite here. It's Emma and Jacob. I Emma worse. Jacob, it's weird because there's some moments where I'm like, man, I feel bad for him. But there are some other moments where I'm like, dude, are you good? Hello? Like, can you chill? Like I don't know. But Emma worse, and yeah, the other three are my probably favorite, yeah.
I think of Jacob, I was like, oh man, your love just kissed another guy. But yet again,
Yeah.
it's like he has this outrage of like, I'm like, oh wow, that is just toxic masculinity, like right there,
Oh.
and like ownership. It's like you're my girl, and I'm like, okay, Jacob, I gotta take back everything I said.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. I completely forgot about Abby. I did not like her at all. There was this one scene towards the beginning where she's hanging out with Nick, and she's drawing a picture of the sunset, and then you have an option as Nick to say, oh, you're really good at drawing, or oh, draw a pose of me. I picked both. At first I did the pose, and her response, she was like, yeah, I'm sorry, I just really want to get this. And then Nick was just like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna sit here silently and just watch you draw. At first I was like, that's a little weird, but okay. And then there's a scene later on where Nick gets completely like essentially mauled almost to death. She escapes, goes to the camp site, tells everybody, yo, Nick, he's in trouble, blah 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 blah. They go and get him, but meanwhile, while Ryan is, I think it's just Ryan actually. While Ryan goes to get him, Caitlin asks Abby to draw a picture, and I'm like, I actually don't know. Does this picture did anything for you guys in your playthroughs? It didn't do anything for mine.
No.
Yeah, it was
As in,
so.
like, what is the monster, or
No, well, yeah, Caitlin basically just asked her to draw a picture of what attacked her, but like that never came back up later. Like, didn't I don't even remember there being a scene where Abby shows the picture and then Caitlin's like, wait, what is that? Or anything like that. That was super weird. But anyways, Ryan gets Nick, brings him back. This man is dying, essentially saying his last words, potentially. I don't know. Saying, yo, is Abby okay? Did you guys get her? Like, blah, 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 blah. Abby is right there. Right there. She doesn't say a single word. She just keeps on drawing. It's like, this guy is dying right next to you. The guy that you supposedly like. And you're not going to say anything. Nothing at all. And he's like, there's no way she doesn't hear him. I I seen that scene. I played through that scene, and I was just, I don't know. I don't know if it's just me. I found that super weird.
No,
You know
good
what?
point. I don't think I
You
find it
brought that
so
up.
weird in the moment, but now that you're mentioning, I'm like, yeah, that's incredibly weird.
You bring up points. Now, did you try to save Nick, or did you run?
No, I did both. The first time I did try to save him, and well, I mean, in the end, she just runs both times.
Yeah.
As long as you do the QTE successfully, I think everything is fine. But yeah, I don't know.
So you do make a great argument. I will counter it from my perspective. I just made out with you. You are my crush. You get attacked by a monster. I'm like, bye. It's a little awkward. I'm just gonna stick trying. You might
Okay.
die. We could just move on from this. And granted, it's all because of the werewolf fight, but Nick got very weird. He's like, "You smell so good."
He did.
And I'm like, okay. So I guess I'm assuming it was an Australian accent.
Australian or New Zealand?
New Zealand. Whichever one sounds like Taika Waititi.
Okay.
Yes, I butchered. Sorry if you're listening to this, Waititi.
Yes, of course.
So sorry, but maybe because I was like, oh, like those are a little weird. But now I'm thinking, you know what? I'm just gonna say, Emanuel, you're right.
Yeah, it makes sense for your playthrough, Mark, but for mine and Emanuel's, we're like, what the hell?
The thing is, like, it makes sense for me, but it's like if I'm supposed to argue in front of a judge, and it's like, but the judge is like, oh, so you ran out on him? It's like, yes, but, and it's like, case dismissed, get out.
With Abigail and Nick, they were kind of like middle, like kind of like forgotten characters for me. Abigail did like nothing throughout the entire thing. I was really disappointed because she was the only actress I knew quite well, well, except for David Arquette and Ted Raimi, but you know, of those actors. So I was like, she kind of just was there to have a crush on Nick, for Nick to turn to have this drama. I was really disappointed in that they had like a medium storyline. From my perspective, my playthrough anyway, Ryan and Laura felt like the main characters, if you get what I mean, and Caitlin, I suppose. It felt like it was designed around them. Like even the achievements, like Ryan could be the final guy and Caitlin could be the final girl, and I felt like Laura was supposed to be like that really cool, awesome girl, which I feel like she was. I really liked Laura by the end. I'd say Laura and Caitlin were my favorites. When it comes to characters you didn't like, I actually didn't hate Emma. Like I didn't hate her as much as I hated. Was she called Emily in Until Dawn? Emanuel, do you remember the one everyone hated and everyone wanted to die?
One that gets pulled through the window immediately when you're yeah.
Like her, I hated immediately. I get why you really don't like Emma, and she has some so dumb moments. But I didn't mind her. I kind of got her a little bit more when she was having the monologue on the phone about Jacob and all that stuff.
Yeah. Like I understood where she was coming from. I don't know. There was just some things where I'm like, okay, I understand your point of view, but what about your friends? Like, I don't see where that comes into this. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, totally. I completely get what you guys are saying. It's just for me, I didn't hate it. Not even Jacob. He had those horrible moments, and yet I still found him a little bit charming when he was being just a doofus running through the place.
Yeah. I'll say this, like, individually, do I dislike Jacob and Emma? No. Like, when they're by themselves or with other characters, I like them. When they're together, toxic. Like, I even read, like, some, like, just, like, a little research, like, some of the past, like, I mean, not to spoil, so I guess if they meet each other before the epilogue.
I'm interested in this because I never got this, And
it was basically, like, you can reveal, like, Jacob to Emma, like, I sabotaged the car to be with you for one last night. And then Emma's like, you are the worst. And even, like, basically that's the final outcome. And it's like, the decisions that Jacob can make. It's like, how can I make this less worse for myself or even more worse? Like, can you act like, come on, I'm so sorry, or be like, you know what, like, screw you. And I'm reading that, and I'm like, that's why I didn't like you guys. I didn't ship you.
Yeah, they were definitely, I'd say they were the weakest parts. If only, like, I liked Ariel Winters' Abigail. I thought she put in a good performance. But again, I really just think she was wasted, like, completely in
Are
it.
you sure? Because she did a lot for my playthrough, because she did.
She had quite the impact on you.
Yeah.
We established, like, oh, this is real.
Yep.
I didn't have that perfect ending.
Yeah, none of us got the perfect ending in our first one. Like, yeah.
No.
No.
But anything else about the characters? I mean, we can always bring this back up, but
we didn't really talk about Max. To me, he kind of just felt like he was there as well, like another padded out character to make Laura seem better. He was funny though. I like the actor. I've seen him in Sun Creator Diet.
He had another great line in the game too.
Oh, A, great show, and B, Booksmart.
Haven't seen Booksmart yet. Yeah.
Great movie. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. But it was more of like, I was disappointed in his character because I'm such a big fan of the actor. And what we got was fine, but I'm like, man, I wanted something more.
Yeah, I could see that.
And you know what? I was disappointed we didn't get too much David Arquette.
Yeah, same. I'm wondering what the scenes are like. I don't know if any of you kept him alive to kill Ryan at all in any of your playthroughs. Me either.
I didn't. I'm like, you'll probably survive. And then it's like, he's dead. I'm like, oh, I actually did have silver bullets.
Yeah.
Oops.
That was really quick decision on my part by accident as well. I really didn't even know what's going on. I was just like, I guess I'll shoot this one. I don't know who this is, what's going on. Didn't catch on that it was Chris. And then suddenly Laura exploded. And I was like, oh, that was Chris. Okay. I
sort of got trigger happy in that moment too, and just immediately blew away the first werewolf I saw, which so happened to be Chris. Thankfully, I wasn't aiming at Laura. That would have been really bad.
Well, I quickly looked and I saw like someone's fighting with a wolf. I'm like, that's not Chris. You're Chris.
You had one more thought than us.
Yeah.
So this is what I don't understand. One of the plot holes I have. So, the whole rise in action, Chris is freaking out, like, oh my god, like what he's thinking, like these kids are going to stay for the full moon. This is not good. So what happened in the like 5 years that like he's totally okay with like campers and kids?
Yeah.
And I'm like, was he? No, he could have even been bitten recently because he at least was a werewolf before camp officially started that year. So that was the thing. I'm like, what was your plan in place to have that? How many werewolves are there? It's your kids. It's Chris. Well, Silas, yeah, like they're hunting him, but it's like anyone else on the loose? No, are we good?
Yeah.
So, and then I kind of attribute to like Chris is a very dumb character.
Yeah,
that's kind of like my headcanon.
I kind of can't get it, around his reasoning because the only scenes I had were basically at the beginning and that conversation with his brother in chapter 7. It's kind of hard to. I feel like here's our David Arquette cameo and that's it.
Yeah, and it was like I feel like Travis is like, no, you're an idiot. Listen to my plan. Well, Chris is like, they're fine. They ain't fine.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Abby.
Chris, for me, was super weird. Like, if I knew I was going to turn into a werewolf, I would have planned way more than what he planned. I don't know. He decided to have everybody leave the night before. Why not do like a week just in case there's an accident? There's so many like things that he just did not account for that I just find super strange.
I mean, like you had to do it the night before, the day before.
Yeah. I don't know.
This is not like in some werewolf media, it's like the night before the full moon, the actual full moon, and then the day after. That's when you're a werewolf. This is just one night of the month. Chris has horrible planning. That's my headcanon.
Yeah. There's no other thing I can think of besides being a plot hole. So I'm gonna just say he's just not very smart, I guess.
Yeah, the only thing
Yeah.
to back that up is, do you remember when he was looking for his keys? He's just a forgetful, clumsy guy when it comes around, being a really dangerous werewolf.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe that.
Oh, but if there were silver keys, he would know that.
He would.
Yeah.
I'd smell them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I was really curious to hear your thoughts on who you thought the big bad was going to be, like, before the werewolf reveal, because for me, the way the werewolf looked, I thought it was going to be like a Nosferatu type vampire, because they were talking about getting infected, and because it didn't have a lot of hair when I first got the glance of it. But before I saw the monster, I thought it was going to be some weird hillbilly hunter type thing, when you get that sort of tease at the beginning when they're looking for them, and I think it's like a gun. So I was really happy when the werewolf thing happened. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I actually think I saw maybe one trailer for the game when it first when they first revealed it. I don't remember having any idea going into this game like what the antagonist would be, because I mean the previous games, Man of Dawn and Little Hope, it was more of like a mystical type of thing. Until Dawn had a more like realistic, I say realistic, an actual monster.
Like something based in actual folklore.
Yeah.
Or legends.
So when I found out that, I mean, first off, they did the mystical part of it with the Terror Lady showing up in the car, and then she started roaming the woods and everything like that, and I'm like, interesting. And then they started showing the dad. I forget his name. Is it Jeremiah or something?
Jedediah.
Yeah. And
Papa
then
Hackett.
Bobby. And I'm like, okay, now this is some sort of weird like hunter. And then they show the monster, and I'm like, are they doing everything at the same time? Yeah. But I was super happy to find out it was werewolf. At first, when the werewolf showed up, I thought, this kind of reminds me of like a Wendigo for some reason. Like, I don't know why.
Okay.
And I was like, is this like a secret Until Dawn like sequel?
Yeah.
Because I mean, the game came out of nowhere, in my opinion. It like 3 months after they revealed it, it was released. So I was like, maybe this is some sort of secret thing. But then, yeah, the werewolf reveal happened, and I was super happy with that.
So as I mentioned, I got spoiled on the trophy. I don't care. I'm actually glad I did, because I'm like, all right, I'm 100% in. So all the things that I'm like looking at the cover, I'm like, oh yeah, it has a big old full moon. Like straight away, I'm like, okay, I get that. I always thought it was like atmospheric, like, oh, they're in the woods and something like that. But and then
I like the way that the creature was revealed, and both me and Emanuel were like two different things. I was like, vampire? You're like, Wendigo?
And I was like,
no werewolf.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I think this was like a day or two before the Quarry came out, and I forget who it actually was. I think it was probably the game director or someone significant behind the scenes. They were sharing like the 6 movies that inspired the Quarry. What's one of them? That they said it was the biggest influence? The Halloween.
Oh wow, that is just
here's
what the creature is.
Yeah. I'm so glad.
Yeah, it's like, and but it was like American Werewolf in London. It's like,
oh my god,
what are they doing?
It's a mystery. I'm glad I didn't see it.
If it was all werewolf stuff, but it was actually like a vampire.
Imagine, that would have been funny.
Yeah.
But did you guys like the design of the werewolf?
I thought it was weird at first, but I don't know. I mean, it's not the traditional hairy, like, super buff type of werewolf, but I don't know. I guess it worked for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of medium on it. I was like, it wasn't horrible, but you're not going to be like, this is one of the best werewolf designs I've seen.
Like, have you guys seen the 3rd Harry Potter movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That felt like, that's the werewolf in that.
Yeah.
If you remember, Skinny, if you just saw that live, I almost like tweaked my neck.
I didn't know if you
I'm
were
like,
doing a werewolf impression.
I was
or...
confused if this is.
Oh my god, he's turning.
Oh man.
These lights aren't like, I don't have any water near me. Dry mouth. These lights are way too bright. It's not just you guys, it's me.
Oh, Mark, you bring up a good point, actually, because while I was a bit on the design, like American Werewolf in London, that's an awesome transformation scene. This has an awesome transformation scene in a totally different way.
Yes,
I explode.
I was shocked, and it was like, oh, he's gonna turn like all this like thing, and he's like, poof, and he pops out. I'm like,
yeah,
holy shit!
So that happened for the first time with Nick, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So he killed Abigail for you, and then did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to bring it up.
Thanks for bringing up my failures.
Sorry.
But as soon as that happened, I'm like, what? I'm like, that's unique.
The transformation was cool, and I think I didn't figure out it was a werewolf until they literally told me it was a werewolf. When Laura and Max were talking about it.
Yes.
Yeah, and so when I saw Nick explode like that, I was like, what in the world is going on? I did not. I really like the way they did it, although it doesn't really make much sense because it seems like they're exploding out of their skin. And of course, it's one of those like Hulk things where their clothes still remain. I'm like, okay, sure, fine.
Yeah, that really confused me with the Laura thing. I'm like, wait, hold on. She just has like this on, or like what is this supposed to be like her werewolf skin? Like what's going on here?
Yeah, every werewolf you get underwear. That's
yeah, I guess so, yeah.
It ain't your papa's lore, but it's ours. That's what I was saying. Like, I remember when we talked about the Quarry, Jessica. We were like, I don't like when just use the name. Don't use like alternative names unless it makes sense. Like Emanuel, you played The Last of Us, right?
Yeah.
So
the clickers.
Exactly. I think that's a great alternative name.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to call them zombies because the old sign it reflects that. But anything else is like, oh, they're the walkers or anything like else. Like, no, you can call them zombies. It's okay.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Like, unless you do something different, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. So when they're like, you know, come on, you're being crazy. And Max is like, I think it might be a werewolf. And I was like, you're at least an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Nice,
and like Emanuel as well, I didn't like. It was like, okay, they're exploding. It looks like a vampire. What is this? So I needed to wait for Max to say werewolf. So if they hadn't said werewolf, if they'd have made up another name, I still would have been confused.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I got the full moon like, thing with the Max conversation.
From my head, I was like, what are you talking about?
So I had the point of like, okay, these are werewolves, but I'm like, what are they? Did trophies lie to me? And it's like, it was a decision. It was, it all depends. Like, so, end of chapter 8, I believe. I think it was chapter 8. Ryan gets stabbed by, I believe, Bobby.
Okay. Yeah.
So in the beginning, you had the option of pulling out the knife or not. I kept it intact until Bobby actually reached me and I stabbed him. And that was a funny Steve. He's like, oh, you stabbed me.
Yeah,
why would
Bobby
you stab me? Dad, stabbed me. I'm like, I killed your dad.
That's what you were thinking? Okay.
I was like, killed him. But
you're not going to find him.
And Laura bit Ryan. And if you
Same.
accept that, it's like you accept like whatever trophy name was, like you accepted the bite of a werewolf. I'm like, it all comes together.
Yeah.
Was there any favorite moments you had through the game?
Favorite moments.
I really liked, I know it's sick and whatever, I really liked it when Constance died. It was just, whoa, okay, there was her face. I feel like they were really good at those shock moments, like when the werewolf blew up, when Constance, well, like anybody died, it was like, oh, this is horrible. Yeah, what about you, Emmanuel? Have to think of some more.
The one thing I for some reason I like, and I think it's mostly because of the music, is when Dylan is helping Caitlin survive in the junkyard. The music that played during that, I don't know why. It just I was like, okay, this is happening. I'm gonna save you guys. Don't worry, guys. We're gonna get through this. Everything's gonna be fine. I'm gonna like try hard, 500 IQ the situation, like, and I don't know. The music just like really amped it up, and I don't know. I just like that scene, mostly for the music, and they're my two favorite characters as well. So
Yeah.
Emmanuel, you took my answer.
oh no, I'm so sorry. No.
Nah, it's okay. That was like all of a sudden, like he's up in the crane, and
Yeah.
it's like he sees the motion lights, and they just get like boom, boom, and whatever that music is, it just matches so well, and that rock like roll like metal music with that meshed perfectly.
It
I
was
don't know
so
if you
good.
two played Control, but that sequence of like that heavy metal and your characters going all out, and that's all I'll say about it, felt similar, not exact, but I'm like, it gave me those vibes.
I get what you mean.
And I think we can't talk about the Quarry without mentioning peanut butter pups. That might actually be the scariest moment when the animation for Jacob was like,
oh my god, the animation,
like an animatronic, like pop, peanut butter pops, and I'm like, that caught me out of nowhere. That was the biggest jump scare for me. I was like, ah.
Oh god, yeah. That probably bring us over to the animation where it was so good until it wasn't. Like I don't know if that's what your what your experience with it is. Like that moment when they're swimming in the water looks totally fine until any of them splash it. You're like, what the hell is going on in here?
What's wrong with the water? What's going on here?
It's cursed. Eliza's in that water.
It's like if you went like super up to date, like Super Mario Sunshine for the water. Like, man, that water looks good. And then I went back to 64 with that splash. I was like,
the pixels.
Yeah, the pixels, and I'm like,
the weird thing around the hair, like everything was perfect on them except for their mouth and their hair. I thought it was like Uncanny Valley stuff, and then they started to speak, and I'm like, this is weird.
Like, I think only like the old. Okay, this is random, Emanuel. Didn't Dylan look like one of the spouse twins?
He does. Yeah, I was actually thinking that at first too. I'm like, he kind of looks like them, but like maybe a bit taller. I don't know.
I'm like, okay, maybe they like mocap, but I'm like, are you Cole or Dylan? And then it was someone else. I'm like, oh, well, damn. But Brenda Son was Caitlin definitely had the best like animation.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's Brenda Son. That's not like, oh, they just modeled after Brenda Son. It's like, I'm watching a Brenda Son movie. Very freaky, but it wasn't like the uncanny like valley. I'm like, ugh, this is no. It was
I think Laura, like it was weird because I talked to you about this, Mark. Like I just done chapters 1 and 2, and I thought Laura looked so strange, and I was like, oh no, is this how they're all going to be? Whatever was going on along here with Laura's mouth, But then Dylan was really well animated as well. I think Dylan and Caitlin and Ryan, but Ryan didn't really have too much emotion.
No, he gave the same face that I think really
that's why.
I
think that's why Eliza worked really well as well, because she just like sat there and was like sassy with you. So.
And the thing is like Jacob and Emma are so emotive of like, that's what I'm trying to tell you, but it's like,
Oh, and guys, we were talking about it before the show. We forgot to say that cut between Laura saying something and then cutting to the explanation of the werewolf. That was very bad performance issues.
That was weird.
That's very like, it wasn't performance, so I don't know. So
well, it's like you're cutting from one setting to another setting, and you're trying to do it like a movie. So somebody curses and then the other person curses, but because you have to load in an entire new area with all these new characters, it took a little bit for it to happen.
It took too long,
way too long, and it just lost the whole effect.
Because when it loads, like when you play a new character, I don't know if you had the same feeling, Emmanuel. Like it'll be like a little beeping sound because it was this weird presentation of the game. It's kind of like a VHS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like I liked it at some points, but I didn't. But the sound they do for the transition sounds like something's wrong with the PlayStation 5. For a second, I'm like, what's going on? I have like the Pulse 3D just to be like immersed, and all of a sudden it's like, whoop, whoop. And I'm like, is everything okay? And I'm like, and it took me until like chapter 4. I'm like, if that's the sound transition, not a fan.
Now that you bring it up, it is kind of weird that they did the VHS thing because there was nothing else. Like, yes, this is a horror film, but it wasn't. I get that they were trying to go for like 80s vibes of what it was like, but there was nothing else like that. It was that the VHS at the start, and then like your paths all looked like a VHS tape.
Exactly. And I mean, the things I really liked about the VHS, like the paths, like screen, like for each one looks like a VHS like cover of a tape,
Yes,
Yeah.
they were cool.
Yeah.
which
I like
which
that. Yeah.
very cool. And something that we didn't bring up was the camp parody instruction videos.
Oh,
Like,
I loved it
here's
so
Oh
much.
here's what you
yeah.
explain about. It was very Fallout animation, if you know what I mean, like the buddy thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really mad. I didn't unlock one, and I'm like, which one was it?
You didn't unlock one?
It shows question mark, question mark, question mark. Repeat that 10 times. Question mark.
That's so weird. I wonder why. Maybe it was just a glitch.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it was a videotape like how to save Abby. I failed. You happy?
Didn't unlock it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Do
didn't
you know what-
unlock.
Do you know what I looked up after that? Remember when I was talking about It Sounds Like Rod Serling? The guy who does the voice, he's called Mark Silverman, played Rod Serling in the Twilight Zone reboot. I was like,
He was the guy of like, it was the CBS All Access, Jordan
Yes.
Peele one, right?
Yep, that one. Yeah, he was the guy at the end of, I don't know if he's in it anymore, but the end of season 1.
Yeah, he was just in that one. It's so hard to explain.
I know, but that's why he did such a perfect, like, it is him. I loved his voice. It was incredible.
Because I'm like, I don't really see it. And then I got like another like video, and I'm like, just goes right.
What? Say that again?
Edit this out. Waving the wave.
I think I might edit it out. My dog just went crazy.
no.
Perfect timing.
Poor dog.
You got lucky that time.
Hey. But I love the little instruction videos. I love that. I love the whole camp environment.
I wish they leaned more into the VHS and 80s thing though, just because I don't know. Actually, at the start of the game, I didn't know what time period it was, which I don't know why, because they were driving in the car. I don't know. I just completely skipped over the car thing.
Like
then they were on their phone.
Looked like 90s. Playing Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about this a little bit before on another podcast, Mark. The music made it feel like Life is Strange to me a little bit, but not in a good way. Like, I really didn't. Life is Strange uses music so well. Like, for me, in this, I just felt so out of place. Like, especially in chapter 7 when Laura was doing her bandage, it felt like the end of a chapter. It's like getting it up, doing the music, and then no, you have to play as Laura. And I was like, that was weird. Did you need to do that?
I get what you're saying.
If I think of like using a song effectively, I think of Alan Wake.
Yeah.
When they played In Dreams was perfection. But this one was like 2K's like, we got money, and it's like, for music? You're not GTA. You don't have to. I think I only liked like 3 instances, like one of the cute Nick and Abby songs, In the Woods. I'm like, oh, this is like a teen CW stuff. They got me with that.
Yeah, the beginning one, I think, when the prologue ended and it went into like I can't remember what the song is now. It was really good. It was effective. I feel like when they put it at the end of a chapter, going in like it was an episode finishing, that was good.
That's a good point. I don't know the heavy metal song that we talked about at the end of chapter
Mm.
8 with Dylan and Caitlin, because there's a mode called streamer mode, which just removes all the copyright
Oh
music out, so it's all
yeah.
safe to stream. I wonder if that's still in the streamer mode. I don't know, so I'm going to say that. And I love Homecoming Queen. So if you're having anything, WandaVision, The Quarry, I'm in.
Yeah, the music for me was I didn't mind. I mean, except for the scene that you mentioned, Jessica. Yeah, that one
Mm.
scene, the music did feel a bit out of place. But the Dylan scene with Kaylin, very good. There was also another one, when Laura goes back to that like mini island to check on Max because she thinks she killed Chris. When she's escaping, there's like again music that plays, but I don't know why I like that as well, but it also
Yeah.
made it made the scene and everything seem more serious, which I was like, huh, okay, this is a very serious type of like scene that's going on, but the rest of the game is very like, I don't know, very trolly in some points. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It was maybe a bit out of place, but I still liked it nonetheless.
Yeah, I feel like that would sum it up well, but that sentence, out of place. That's what it felt like to me.
Mm,
Like even though it was good to me, it felt out of place.
yeah, yeah.
What did you? So we talked a little bit about the graphics. What did you like or dislike about the graphics?
Well, first off, did you guys? I don't know if you laughed the same way I did. When you're making a decision, they'll pause. I say pause. They don't really pause.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Slow
faces
down
are
their
like
face
in
movement.
slow mo, but it's just super weird. I don't remember
Yeah.
them doing that in previous Supermassive games, so I don't know. I found that kind of funny. But I mean, apart from the water thing that we talked about, and some of the weird animations, I found it to look pretty good. Exploring though, I don't know if it was just me. Some things in the background seem pretty blurry at times. I don't know. Um, so like environmental stuff, maybe not like the best that they've had, but in terms of like character models and stuff, I personally found them to look quite good.
Yeah, I think they looked incredible except for the issues I had with like specifically Laura's mouth. Like it was
Yeah,
strange. I do
at the
think
beginning.
these are like the best looking characters they've ever done. Like it is so incredibly well done. And
Mm-hmm.
I talked about this a little bit before as well. To me, when I'm playing it, the angles that they've used, it just looks like you're watching a movie sometimes. Like
Yeah.
it's so good, but it's kind of counterintuitive when you're trying to go around a corner and they've done like a really weird angle for you to try and go around the corner. So the
Mm.
movement can be a little frustrating, but for me, I take that over the cool camera angles they have going on. It is a stunningly beautiful looking game, except for when the water splashes.
The water, the poor water.
You totally bring up a good point, Emmanuel, of how like, and it's like, if you ask me like, if Jessica asked me like, hey, Mark, like, what's wrong? And it'll be like honest lie, but it'll just cut back to me, face super closed up, and be like,
You gotta show the teeth too. There was a lot of teeth that was showing.
Oh yeah, do like a really slow motion smile.
Yeah.
I did love every time you pause, it would focus on their face. And
Mhm.
a cool moment, I had to pause the epilogue, just go to the bathroom, and I came back, and the face was the crow.
Mhm.
Oh,
That was dope.
That was
yeah.
cool.
And I paused during Eliza. I'm like, well, I got Eliza, and all of a sudden it's just like, you should have brought those cards. Those were
Yeah.
good. I think just like daytime, like the camp environments, amazing. Now I know, Emmanuel, you live near my neck of the corner, northeast. I gotta say, I totally relate. Well, I told the story on the last podcast, but I was at a wedding the day this game came out, and it was all the way in Lake George, New York, and we had no cell phone reception, and I totally get why these characters were probably going to die.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I actually just went hiking last weekend and no service at all. I was
No bars.
Yep.
And it's like, you got
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. It just glitched out. We don't have Wi-Fi.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, this is why these characters die.
Yeah, like, it all makes sense now.
I'm like,
Oh, speaking about the phones, I another thing that's just super weird and didn't make any sense. The whole Chris thing is saying you can't charge. I don't know why I just brought that up right now. That bothered me so much. Can I charge my phone? No, you may not. Why?
Because we're in a
Huh?
horror game, guys.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
I don't. It's just
did
I
he
don't know.
ask that before or after the car broke down?
Before.
Mm.
Well, there goes my explanation.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I always assumed like he had the phones taken away. Like the real purpose is for so no one can grab any evidence of like any of the werewolves,
Mm.
just
Yeah.
in case. But it's like, come on, let Dylan have his phone.
Yeah, I can like see his reasoning behind it, but I just like if I was Dylan, I'd be like, why? Like, why?
More detailed explanation, please, sir.
This makes no sense at all. Please, I could die on the road. I need my phone, please. I don't know.
Yeah,
Super
what the
funny.
hell? Sending a bunch of teenagers on the road with no charge. And their phone.
Yeah. No map,
Yeah.
no nothing. Okay, sure.
Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what? Nothing. All these. I think Chris wanted them to die. Night before, day before he sends them home. No, you can't have the charge. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, and it's like, oh, we cleared it with Chris. We could come up a night early. And Travis
Yeah.
is like, I hate my brother so much. Ugh. It's like, just go to the hotel. Just go to the hotel. Of course, Travis had to be very creepy, but it's like, just go to the hotel.
Travis could have played that so much better too, though. He could have easily said, "Yeah, there's
Yeah.
an accident over there," or just like so many different lies. This guy was the most creepy. Like,
Hey,
why?
guess what? I'm Chris's brother. Nice to meet you. There's actually something going on. Let's go to
Easily
the
like
hotel.
this.
I'll pay for your room.
Easily.
You want something from the vending machine? I gotcha. But guess what? Now that you're in your holding cell, again, Chris, such a himbo.
Yeah, Sambo. Now that we're mentioning that holding cell, I feel like that chapter started out really weak for me. Like it was so goddamn long. But then by the end, I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go as Laura. But I kind of hate it when they do flashback stuffs and anything like in the middle of this high intense werewolf. Okay, let's go, and then we're having a flashback that lasts an entire chapter. That was kind of a bit weak for me. But then I guess it was worth it because Laura was one of my favorite characters in the end.
Like as soon as she got scratched, that is when the chapter is like, okay, I'm invested because I'm like, oh, we're really gonna do this. I love flashbacks, but so those are characters I only associate with the prologue, the beginning of the game, the part where I'm like, all right, let's start this game. And now it's like, it feels like we went to chapter 6 to chapter 1.
Yeah.
And instead of like intercutting, like it was a whole chapter about them. And it was basically like a very exposition chapter.
In the same location, yeah.
And it's like, if you wanted to say like this is a TV show, chapter 6 was like this big epic episode everyone's talking about. And then next week's episode is it's slower. It's a lot of heavy lifting.
It's a low budget
development.
Yeah,
it's the bottle episode.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. Chapter 7 is the bottle episode. Yeah.
And it's like we need. Oh, actually, this is random. I was going to joke about peanut butter puffs. I wish we saw the commercial. We heard the jingle at the credits.
I didn't need to see it.
I did. I want to know, like, did they actually go like this?
Yeah, janky animation and all.
And it wasn't even like the arms. It was like he's like looking like Dead Space, like
maybe they were just being authentic to the commercial. We don't know.
Yeah, we just don't
I
understand.
imagine like it's an animated like possum.
A possum?
Possum peanut butter pops.
That's very specific.
Wow, possum. Yeah. Mark's like, that's my headcanon.
That's
Oh
my
man.
headcanon. I had to reach far in my memory banks to remember what animal is which. I'm like, bear, raccoon, I don't know, possum. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that PP.
Mm.
The same letter.
To go back to the flashback thing though, another reason why I didn't like it is because it is a flashback, so I felt like a lot of my choices probably aren't gonna matter much in the
Mm.
end. And I mean, there was just not much in the previous chapters. The decisions that they gave us felt more like, oh, this is very interesting. What would happen if I do this? What would happen if I do this? But in this chapter, it was very dialogue like based. Like, oh, do you want to be angry? Do you want to be sad? Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't really jive with me.
What did you do with the sheriff? Because I found a syringe and got him with that. Did you guys
Yeah,
take his gun or anything?
I
I
took
didn't take his
his.
gun.
Yeah, I did the syringe at first, and then another
Take
playthrough I
his
did the
syringe.
gun,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't shoot him. I just left him in the
Oh,
cell.
did you get the option? Because that's one of the tarot cards that I did get to see.
Oh, okay.
So it was Laura shooting him. So I
Yeah.
was like, do not touch that gun at all.
That
Oh,
was
okay,
the
that's
same
why.
thought I had.
Okay.
I was like, nah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was weird because you're right, Emmanuel. It's also a flashback. I'm like, will we see him later? Is he going to survive? You know what? I'm not going to piss him off. And I feel like the decisions of that chapter didn't have the immediate effects, which isn't a bad thing. But when we're chapter 7 out of 10, we kind of want some decisions being played. I feel like they like it affect the what happened at the end of like basically like the rest of the chapters, which it just makes sense for this game. But it feels like we're making a lot of decisions that have no impact until like 2 hours later.
Yeah. Yeah. Even then, honestly, like I pissed off the sheriff and I was really kind to him, and in the end I still ended up teaming up with him.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
So I'm not really sure like
I
how
was like
much like
begrudging like buddy cop
okay.
kind of thing. I was trying to save Max. Let him show up by the dock.
Why would you bring that up?
Yeah,
Well,
why
you
you
brought
making me
up
feel
Abby.
bad?
Yeah.
And I was also confused. So I thought you had to kill the OG werewolf to end the line. I didn't realize it was just the werewolf who bit you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So and all of a sudden, when Laura like his werewolf exploded back into being a human,
Yeah.
which was also like what?
Yeah, to be fair, I was, what the hell's going on here in this situation too?
Yeah, and then it's like Travis like you didn't kill the original werewolf. The line still continues. I'm like,
That was
sounds like a you
handled in
problem.
Yeah.
can you, Travis? We're on a first name basis. Can you explain what the hell is going on?
They like that. I feel like that was done really poorly as well. It was like, here's the explanation I give you in chapter 7. You thought it meant Chris had to die, definitely, but oh no, you've just killed Chris, and now I'll tell you it has to be Silas.
Yeah, I wish we had like a. I don't know. Did you get a scene with Chris?
I don't know. Maybe because Ryan will be dead. Maybe he goes with Laura and Travis at the end if he survives.
I don't know.
I should have YouTubed it. I want to know.
I didn't want to
didn't get
spoil
one.
myself. I just wanted like, okay, did I miss anything with Emma and Jacob? I didn't. Cool.
Yeah.
Other than that, well, you know what's interesting? It just sticks out. The end credits, the whole podcast series, which is
Yeah.
an actual podcast series they did before the game. I didn't listen to it, but now I'm like, I kind of want to.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's actually pretty interesting.
Like 4 episodes. That's awesome. Good marketing.
I kind of liked their banter at the end. I thought it was good. It was like how much evidence you collected. I thought that was a good way of
exactly
putting that across. Thought it would have a little bit more impact at the ending, collecting all the evidence, but it was just the podcast. But I like the podcast.
Yeah. Felt natural too.
What I found interesting, I'm like, Arby's, like in the beginning of the game, I'm like, Arby's like backwoods people. And I'm like, okay, they're not. yet again, I'm reading Chris's daughter's like letter, and maybe it's the guy's voice, but it's also like the grammar of it.
Mm.
And like, I'm like, okay, sweet innocent thing. That's what she described at. Uses a lot of F bombs. I already used mine for this podcast. Maybe I
I didn't
used
use
the
mine
S
yet.
word. I don't know, but I was like, I'm good. That always stuck out. I'm like, wait a second.
That's what any grandmother's like. Was like, not my sweet innocent girl. Like, is she?
Hmm.
Yeah, even Uncle Travis was like, this is the most sweet innocent girl ever. My nieces are nightmare people.
Nightmare people.
No offense, Natalie, Charlotte, and Abby, and any future people, but you beat me up. No joke.
You're mean.
Yeah, they are mean. They're like 5 and 4 and 2.
It's a lot of fate that can pick you.
So 2 of my nieces, Charlotte and Abby, they play doctor with me. I'm the patient. They're the doctors. You know how they treat me? They throw stuff at me. They throw pillows.
I would hire them.
Book. That's American healthcare for you.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, not fun. Yeah, this really wasn't a review for the Quarry. This is just me venting about my nieces and nephews, and uncle stuff. They're not going to listen to this, but anything you guys want to bring up about the Quarry? There's a lot of stuff that we could. I feel like we covered a lot, but anything you just want to get off?
I just want to repeat that I really, really like the dialogue in some places. Like I found it super humorous. Like,
It was funny.
yeah, there was like, I mean, even like the campfire scene when I keep forgetting the guy's name. I want to say Jeremiah. What is it? It's not Jeremiah. Jedediah. Thank you.
Yeah.
But he's just watching over them, and he says, "Oh, fuck this." He just leaves it. It's the exact same reaction I had when watching that scene. I don't know. It's just so good. But
yeah, the dialogue really nailed like the dumb horror aspect of it. If you know what I mean?
The beginning part of the game too. I found like Caitlin, Ryan, Dylan. I found them to be the most interesting, but also like the most like, I mean, well, Jacob too, like toxic kind of. Like they were all just like crapping on each other the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, especially Caitlin. And then I mean, I just her dialogue in the beginning was great, and then like later on when she's yelling at Dylan to get the werewolf out of my car, like her like performance. I don't know. I think the performance also helped the animation too. It just felt a lot cleaner than it did in the previous games. Which I don't know if you guys will eventually play them, but not the best performances sometimes, especially Man of Medan. Oh my god, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Little Hope.
Yeah.
That's a little better, but yeah, I don't know.
I will say regarding the beginning, and I'll also say I feel like I relate most to Dylan because we use humor to mask things.
Yeah, he definitely does. Yeah.
I kind of meant that to be a joke, but I was like, oh no, did I go deep?
Don't worry, I
Edit this out.
And we said this was a safe space, Mark.
I forgot we have Apple Podcast listeners.
Oh my god.
But I'm like, do you guys watch Buffy?
I did. I didn't watch the last 2 seasons though. Rest in peace.
Oh, you were like, that's it, it's over.
I mean, she died, and I'm like, okay, she's dead.
Like, there's no show. And it's like
it's over.
6 and 7, like, no.
She comes back. It's fine. I don't need to see that. She died.
I felt like so. I relate to characters like Xander.
Oh, of
course. And I feel like Dylan is very similar to.
Yeah, it's a good comparison. Yeah.
Making what is his best defense? Humor.
Yeah.
That, and I feel like it's just the way that like Ryan, Caitlin, Dylan, like their chemistry together in the beginning kind of felt like siblings.
Yeah, I mean,
Kind of
at
like
first I
this,
didn't
like,
think
or
that,
like,
but
or like
you know.
sassy friends. Like,
Mm,
I want to say either siblings or the cast of the Golden Girls.
okay. Yeah.
When are we
At
going to
first I
do our
didn't
Golden
think that
Girls
though.
spoiler cast?
Oh, well, yeah. I don't know about if I'm gonna be on that
Jessica,
one,
we put that in the Google Docs immediately.
Did you say Golden Girl spoiler cast?
Yes.
I think we might be a little late.
Sure. Side note, I gotta send you the link. Someone wrote a crossover episode with the Golden Girls and Stranger Things.
Oh
It is the
man.
best thing ever.
Yeah,
It's
send me
actually
the
like,
link, please, Mark.
yes.
You got it.
Don't cut this out because, dear listener, Google it. Or Bing it if you're so cool. DuckDuckGo. Whatever. Shoot. Derailed the whole thing. No, but they're kind of like the siblings. I felt like Ryan was a little too standoffish until we got to see more of his performance. I'm like, oh, never mind. I like you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anything else about the Quarry before we go into comparisons to Until Dawn?
Yeah, the last thing I'll say about it is that I think the movie mode is incredibly cool. Like I wish all these types of games would have this because I don't know. Actually, you played them, Emmanuel. Did any of the House of Ashes? Was it House of Ashes? God, I've just.
Yeah,
Did
the one
they?
that just came out. Yeah.
Yeah. Did they have any movie modes in them where you could
I don't remember.
watch
I
the
don't remember
scenes?
them. I don't remember them having that. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah.
I know they had other modes, but I don't remember that one. That being one of them.
The Quarries one is, I thought it would just be, so you get the option, you get best ending and worst ending, or everyone dies and everyone lives.
Mm-hmm.
But you can set it up every character's how they interact with people, what they're like,
Oh, really?
if they explore the environment, what they do in certain situations. It's like it's like you're making like a Sims trait type thing, and then you just
Okay.
hit play and you see how that plays out. Like if you made Jacob more aggressive or if you made him more like a funny guy. Like I thought that's really cool because then
Oh, wow.
yeah, you can do that in your own playthrough, but just setting that up and pressing play and watching that, I think that's really interesting.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't know they did that. I need to try that out. I'm curious
I
Yeah,
thought it was more of like there's no quick time events, no walking around. It's just more like the decisions.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It is that, but yeah, you get to curate it beforehand, like you're the director.
Exactly. I thought it was just more of like you're basically playing the game, but you're just deciding the face. No like quick time actions, no holding your breath. Which thank God it wasn't like the
Oh
keeping
God.
the controller still in Until Dawn
Yep.
because these hands are not surgeon hands. They are shaky. They are sweaty. They're not good.
Agreed.
It's like, okay, you gotta stand still, and it's like,
I just put the controller down. Yeah.
Oh, that is 500 IQ right there, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Me and Mark are like, no.
Meanwhile, Jess and I are like 5.
I mean, I did
Well-
that during this game too, and I then forgot that there was QTEs that I should probably successfully complete, and then I picked it up too late, and then I messed up. So that's
no.
I actually
Yeah.
messed up the QTs for like the prologue in chapter 1 because I thought it would come out like the buttons, like you gotta press X or this, and it's like, no, it's all directional.
yeah.
And I'm like, so it had to get me like a while, but are the quick time actions annoying? Like all quick time action events? Yes, they are. But at least they're like super easy.
They really simplified it in this game. Yeah.
Unless like the shooting, I was this close to almost getting Brenda Song killed. And if that happened, I wouldn't have done this podcast.
I got her killed. I'm so sad. It's fine. I redeemed myself in the next playthrough.
It never happened.
Yeah. Of course.
I can't wait until I meet Brenda Song and I'm like, I saved you. I only cared about you. And she will be like, please get away from me and Macaulay Culkin right now. They're married.
Oh,
or
okay.
or at least they're together. I don't know if they're married. Congrats on them. They have a kid.
Thanks for the update, the Brand the Song update.
If you thought this was a Quarry review, no, this is a Brand the Song life update. Only an Apple Podcast.
Nice.
It's a big deal, Jessica. Emanuel, we're finally on Apple Podcast, the KeenGamer Podcast. This is a big deal. So
nice, very nice.
Thank you. So I will mention Apple Podcast twice every sentence.
Okay.
I don't know how the algorithm works, but if we mention Apple Podcasts over and over, does that boost us up?
Maybe
we'll find out.
It's worth a try.
Yeah, worth a try. Hashtag restore the Snyderverse. Yeah. Anyway,
I'm on board for that plan, but movie mode sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's my closing thoughts on the Quarry. We covered actually quite a lot, so
we covered quite a lot. Like, I feel like, for me personally, I finally got everything out. I admitted my guilt. All the things I love. I got to look up that heavy metal song from Chapter 8. But all in all, like, I can't wait to play this in October or end of September. I want that spooky season. You know what this is right now? The summer solstice. And it's terrible. I hate these long days. I hate 8:45 sunsets. Give me dark at 4:30 like a normal human.
I agree.
But that's just me.
Oh, I agree.
So I feel like the big thing ever since the game got announced, like, oh, this is a spiritual successor to the Until Dawn. Do we feel like A, it lived up to the hype, and B, if we had to compare, which one is better? Emanuel, start with you.
I played Until Dawn probably 4 or 5 times. But that was like a while ago. My initial reaction with that game is I absolutely loved it. But I feel, I mean, I don't want to like hypothesize and make that my my reasoning for this, but I feel like if I went back, I don't know if I would like it as much. I'm not sure. But
no, that's very fair.
Yeah, just because, like, I don't know. I played through this game, The Quarry, and I try to do as many different things as possible for the decisions, and some of them really, like, ultimately, like, resulted in me having to complete a QTE. And if I completed a QTE, everything was fine, you know? I don't know if I don't remember if Until Dawn was like that. And they also had a lot of different things. I mean, the relationship status, I feel like in that game was more relevant than this one. It's just, I mean, the same thing for Man of Medan and Little Hope and House of Ashes as well. They actually had relationships with, like, every character had relationships, and that would affect, like, I mean, how they acted with each other and how they, I mean, it potentially affected whether or not they could live or die or help each other or whatever else. In this game, I feel like it didn't have that. Like, there were some scenes where, like, it says, oh, Abby didn't like that you said that. And I'm like, okay, but does that mean anything? Like, I didn't feel like it did anything. And I kind of felt like a lot of things resulted, like, ultimately ended up in me having to complete a QTE. So I'm wondering if Until Dawn is like that. I don't know if it is like that. So for now, I'm going to say Until Dawn is still my top pick. But that's just until I play it again, which might be soon. Maybe during Halloween.
Awesome. Same here. I feel like Until Dawn, I feel like it will still live up to what I felt. I do have to take an effect of, like, okay, some of the controls are a little outdated. I mentioned the DualShock. And of course, like, you can't even compare, like, facial animations from now and then. But I feel like the Quarry is just a little better because I really like I love the characters.
Yeah. I think the characters here were stronger than Until Dawn, though. I will agree with that, yeah.
And granted, I just played this, like, it just came out, like 3 weeks ago, and Until Dawn, I played it in 2019, 2020, something like
Recency bias, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, of course, recently bias. Welcome to the internet. But
Yeah.
I feel like some of the dialogue I don't remember, but I feel like some of the Dylan dialogue, some of the sequences, I'll remember just a little more from the Quarry. But
Mm,
again, slight edge.
hmm
Jessica, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I really wish I had time to replay Until Dawn. And the same as you guys, it's been so long, and I have such fond memories of playing it, and I played through it so many times. I totally agree. I feel like the cast is way better in this. Like, I loved the introduction to the monster. I loved the goofy humor, but I feel like right now, if I had to pick, I'd still pick Until Dawn.
Mm,
But there's so much better about the Quarry. Like Until Dawn, I believe, was just like this surprise that kind of came from nowhere. So everyone was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, this is really good." So I don't know if I'm remembering those feelings more than I am. Whereas the Quarry kind of had to live up to like all of the um pictures ones had to live up to Until Dawn because it was a surprise and it was good. So
hmm
I feel like Until Dawn still for me, but yet the cast of the Quarry is just like the performances are incredible. Like I like the actors
So
in
good.
like
Yeah.
they had Rami Malek and Hayden Panettiere and like really good, but I feel like everyone had great chemistry in the Quarry. And if I were to just stick on the movie mode, if Until Dawn had one, I would still choose the Quarry, I think, whereas I would play Until Dawn over the Quarry. So yeah, it's Until Dawn's still my favorite, and I've only ever played Man of Medan from those ones, but the Quarry is definitely my second favorite. Like it was really, really good.
Mm.
Awesome. And honestly, like after playing the Quarry, I'm like, all right, I'm definitely gonna check out the Dark Pictures anthology.
Mm.
You should. But I mean, I don't want to say don't get your hopes up that it's gonna be like some great, like amazing thing. But there's still a lot of fun in them for sure.
Am I expecting them to be better than either Until Dawn or the Quarry? Yes. No, I'm just kidding. No, of course
Okay.
not.
Wait a
I
minute.
was like, wait, Mark, wait.
Wait.
This is a safe space. You can't hurt my feelings that hard. But it's like, okay. I quickly just looked up the cast. Will Poulter, Ashley Tisdale. Again, next one, just bring back Mr. Mosby. That actor, make him the star. Sean Ashmore from X-Men, and he was just in The Boys. I think that's awesome. So anything like something like that's scary, dialogue, interactive, I'm on board.
One
Yeah.
last thing I'll
But
say about this is that I feel like the Quarry is just like the ultimate example of why they shouldn't have done it in that anthology way, if you get what I mean. Those shorter games of the Dark Pictures ones, like just if they kept on doing the Until Dawn formula, like changing it up, not doing the exact same thing,
hmm
they would have had like a lot more success because
I think so too.
more people were talking about the Quarry, and for me as well, I was excited for the Quarry more than I ever have any of the Dark Pictures
mhm,
games.
It also just gives like a lot of the characters and story more time to be fleshed
Yes.
out too.
hmm
Because I don't know, Man of Medan, I
Yeah.
disliked all the characters, and even though I liked Little Hope and House of Ashes more, the characters still were not like I don't know top tier for me. I guess
hmm
same with the story. So
all right. Anything else before we close on this?
I think I'm good.
think I'm good too. Except I will say I wish they did have some sort of multiplayer mode. I think they're gonna release that later on though.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm like, I already know what's gonna happen, and it's
Mm.
just like if I play with somebody, they probably already know too. I don't know. It's a little too late for that, but fine. I don't know.
I'm excited to do
Hopefully.
a kill everyone playthrough. I haven't done it yet.
I haven't
So
done that yet either. I might do that
yeah.
this weekend.
I
Next
think I
weekend.
might finish out like get the platinum during Halloween. It's like, all right, let's save
Mm.
everyone. Let's get all the clues. And then afterwards, carnage.
Yeah.
But guys, I think that's it. That is our The Quarry review. I think we had a great time.
I
I
did.
think so
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Had a lot of great stuff. Definitely check out the game. Maybe wait until it's on sale. But if you're listening to this like during spooky season, definitely buy. But
Great.
that's just our opinion. You can let us know in the comments down below if you're watching the YouTube version. Jessica, where can people find you?
You can find me at Resi Jessie on Twitter.
Awesome. Emanuel great articles on KeenGamer. Where can people find you? If people can find you.
On Twitter, at Manny Writes.
That's right. Just followed you recently. Thanks for the follow back.
No problem. Thanks for the follow.
Would have been real awkward. Like, just followed you recently. Noticed you haven't followed me back.
Yeah, whoopsie.
I would have, but he made the smart choice. He made like the just close up his face, and it's like, do I accept? Like,
I should probably get this. Yeah.
But you can definitely check out a lot of great articles here at KeenGamer.com. We got reviews, we got guides. Emanuel, you actually just had a guide on the Quarry, talking about all things tarot cards. Wish I would have had that in my first one, maybe when I come back for Halloween. And some great articles as well. Rate us 5 stars on Spotify to help us boost us in the chart. And guess what? If you haven't heard, we're an Apple Podcast, baby. We made it.
Yeah. And you can rate us 5 stars there too. Not that we're pressuring you, but
if you don't,
say it.
I'll be like the tarot card lady, like, oh, so you didn't rate us 5 stars. Oh, well, you know, I knew you wouldn't rate us 5 stars. But that will be it for the KeenGamer Podcast. I'm your host, Sparkle Callahan, and we hope you have a great day.